You have been disconnected, it says, even though I'm right here. That's weird. So yeah, today we continue our epic journey in, I was just doing that to test something, cheating, our epic journey in Razor Hill. And the one thing you might notice at this stage is that, oh yeah, I'm a little bit over leveled. I'm already level 11. I'll be like level 15 before I, before I even just get anywhere with it. Like, before I go to the Barrens or something, but that's not even me just playing it safe. The other intention, besides just doing permadeath, which I basically do with everything anyway, I'll do permadeath with like Phoenix Wright. I play Spirit of Justice for the first time, may as well make it permadeath, or at least certain aspects of it, like the final day in trial. So my point is that I'm kind of just exploring, I'm checking out the Horde stuff in more detail than maybe I ever have before. Not that I've never played as Horde, but just not very thoroughly. I kind of played Horde the same way that people play everything in this game, which is just kind of mindlessly just kind of breeze through it, speed run, and then finally sort of almost make it like a story thing, which seems maybe kind of weird. But so this would be like for feed pet and heal pet or something. I even have the instinct from my what little of Hunter I played. I think the only time I played Hunter was on Horde too. It was like one of my first characters, and I got it to like level 25. Other than that, I don't remember ever playing a Hunter at any point, and that includes like BC and Wrath. I basically just picked one thing and stuck with it. Like a mage was my favorite, obviously. You got to go to Orgrimmar. That's not going to happen for a super long time. So what's going to happen is my pet's going to turn on me in the middle of combat and kill me because I'm not going to feed it. I'm not trying to starve it. I'm not trying to do that, but I forgot that you have to go all the way to the major city to learn that, and I'm just not ready to go there yet because I want it to be like a big deal. Like, I want to go there, I'll spend a whole episode just exploring Orgrimmar, talking to every NPC, like all these little things that I'm trying to do with it. I think I talked to everybody in Razor Hill. Vanquish the Betrayers. Okay, so this one's pretty important, kind of the whole Proudmoore drama, little better love story than Twilight between Jaina and Thrall over here. Encroachment is the Quillbor, who are over the real thorn in our side, I guess you could say. Who are they sort of the mortal enemies of anyway? Like the Centaur are the mortal enemies of the Tauren. The Murlocs are apparently the mortal enemies of the Trolls because they almost died to them. Tenjin did die to, some random level 6 from Warcraft 3. And so did I. I'm one to talk. I fucking failed my first playthrough permadeath of Warcraft Reforged to that stupid Murloc who I totally did it on purpose just because the game's no good apparently, but it didn't even seem that bad. And then, what are the orcs? Yeah, what is the orcs even mortal enemy? I mean, I guess you could say it's the humans to an extent or something, but yeah, the Quillbor don't really have that same level of rivalry. It's very clear about the other ones. So we can do that. We can do this, which is in the Barrens, so I'm not going to do it. Not going to the Barrens. I'm not going to Orgrimmar. There's still a lot of stuff to do outside, like there's even a Burning Blade Coven to the east of Orgrimmar, like here, right? But I guess to get the quest, you would probably have to go inside and talk to somebody. I think that's one where you actually end up talking to the city leaders and stuff. We might talk to Vol'jin and Thrall, and they'll celebrate, like, wow, you really did great. Or at least they mention them in those. Like, that's what's funny. You're like a level 10 undead in Undercity, and you kind of just... You're talking to Very Mothras and fucking Sylvanas, and it's like no big deal. They're kind of dicks to you, like, oh, we don't have time for this, just get on with your business, but they're still telling you to do stuff. So now we can kind of power level our pet without needing to, gain experience ourselves. But he's only a little bit behind us. He's, I guess I leveled a little faster than I expected. And I'm even making a point to try not to rest, like to log out in a rested area. That way people can't even say, oh, you're power leveling or whatever, because it's going to be a very slow, kind of thorough playthrough, but that much you can't help. So this is a week's worth, exactly, because every Thursday I play it. So go ahead and do Tiragard Keep, and this is a pretty badass place. In fact, this might have been the first, like, mini dungeon experience that I had in the whole game, because my first characters were... No... I played a Tauren up to level 6, then I played an Undead up to like level 17, and then I finally played the Orc. So, but this is like one of the solo type of fun zones to mess around with, right? It's almost like you can look at it like, okay, this is a single player dungeon, even though it's not really that big of a deal. This is the closest you can get to that without grouping with people, or I could try the solo Wailing Caverns at level 25, but that would have to be a separate hard mode series, because then I'm not going to do it with my life on the line. Like, try to solo it with the least amount of gear possible, with the least amount of enchants and stuff at the lowest possible level. That makes it very interesting. You're not really handicapping yourself. You're just trying to do what 5 players could do in the most optimal way, which I'm sure even that people have done. In fact, when the streamers were sort of power leveling through, right, it made it seem like, oh, they were like 2-manning dungeons, 5-man dungeons somehow. So this, I'm just trying to recap. Fizzle's Claw. So he's in that area where I think the orange raptors were that I kept talking about, like the Thunder Ridge with the Kodos, the lightning lizards and stuff. This area, I don't even know what it is. There's a Quillbore here, and then I guess it just sort of leads to the Barrens. I remember having this real fetish for water. Like, I would go up and down the river and just kill the alligators, or I would go up and down in Hillsbrad. I stayed here for a super long time, just kind of mindlessly killing the turtles at level 30. I got like 2 or 3 levels just doing that. So I was just watching like an anime or something in the background and kind of like, you know, that's the best way to grind stuff because they're not hostile, so you don't have to worry about it. And they're much higher level than the rest of the stuff in the area, so even once you've done all the quests, it's like, fuck it, I'm too lazy to leave the zone, so I'll just sit here for 10 hours killing random turtles all day. So I'm a little bit over leveled for this. You even get this badass music, which is really more just like music that you hear in Stormwind all the time, but so they've sort of gone rogue. Speaking of a broken bow, very fitting. It takes more to make a troll than a broken or it takes more to make a hunter than a broken troll bow. Doesn't exactly have the same meaning as that quote, because it doesn't mean I'm using a broken bow like the worn short bow that you start with. It's the fact that I broke my bow literally from my inventory and I don't have one ever anymore. So yeah, they sort of violated the Proudmoore Pact, I guess, and it's just a case where they're doing kind of their own thing, so it still doesn't make the Alliance look bad. Because they didn't seem like too mad at the Alliance themselves. They just said human aggression was repelled, Terror Guard Keep fell. Recently, the Admiral's Reserve led by Lieutenant Benedict. I'm impressed by their ability to come up with so many names, too. Like, some of them are obviously just like that, very par for the course, or like pun names, but over all the expansions, all the raid bosses, all the 5-man stuff, it's a crazy amount of namesakes that you have to do. Okay, so he's level 9. We don't get to do the talent trees or anything yet, right? All that stuff's gonna have to wait. So even though we have a pet, there's 2 elements that make the pet less impressive, or 3. One is if the pet dies, it doesn't come back. Not only does it not come back, but we also, oh, it made it seem like, oh, he's happy all of a sudden. If he dies, he doesn't come back, but we also can't ever get another pet of the same type, like a raptor. We can't dismiss him during combat or anything like that either. So, you know, if we want to change pets, we can do that outside of combat in like a town, but that's different. That won't save the pet. Number 2 is I'm going to try to tank myself for the pet because I want to use my sexy parry melee hunter stuff, right? We'll be using this ability a lot, and we don't even have the ability to parry yet. I kind of am hard up on money. And then the third element is the fact that I guess it's going to be under leveled, and for the time being, we're also not going to train it or anything, not by choice, but just you have to go all the way to the major city to do that, which I kind of forgot about. That could be one of the biggest problems actually that we're seeing here, and I don't remember how I dealt with it before in my other runs. Like, the money seems really short, or I guess I'm buying like all this RP kind of stupid stuff. Like, I want to buy a fishing pole from the guy, and first of all, this is exactly the time to give me some goddamn bags. Where are all the bags? Like, this is still one of the easier classes to play. This kind of shows it, because you're getting 2 damage sources, 2 potential tanks. As long as I can hold aggro, though, I'm happy. So in a way, it's good that it's kind of good that we're that he's under leveled and we're over leveled, because I don't want him pulling aggro and putting himself at risk. That is an upgrade, but where the hell do I put it? This is exactly the problem that we run into, is just like, I'd love to feed it to him, but I can't, dude. So he's gonna hate me, and I don't know what actually happens. Maybe he will. We kind of need that slot for anything else that we get too. He'll either turn on me in the middle of combat, or he'll just run away. He'll just leave my service, which that doesn't really count as a death, but maybe it should. Yeah, he'll just, I've never seen what actually happens if you leave it this long, because I would never do that, or probably most people don't let that happen. The linen's going to come into play, but yeah, like I said, humanoids tend to drop bags more, so maybe that's why I've gotten so unlucky with getting them. The starting areas always have a high rate of giving you bags. There's some moment in Elwyn Forest where I got like 4 in a row of those little 6-slot bags. I was like, is it bugged or something? But it's just that generous sometimes. Although that is still super lucky. You know, don't aggro that shit. And the biggest thing is you just want to you want to make sure that you keep this guy a little bit. Yeah, see, even keeping on passive is a good idea. Some reason I thought he'd have some kind of other ability here to start. So, one of them did, like the boar has like the charge that you can control. So at least like my pet will have more activatable abilities that I'm doing than me. I'll just basically be doing heal pet the whole fight. I'll turn into his healer. Now we have to kill Benedict, but he's not here. Although sometimes boss type enemies, this is just something you shouldn't really do. Right, and the problem is you can't even pull it very effectively because of the simple fact that you can't pull it very effectively because of the simple fact that you don't have range still. So I almost would want to get a ranged pet. This almost wouldn't work unless I was this high of a level. So this kind of shows you some fragment of my intention. Like, if you're gonna play it like I do, which is very ballsy and very explorative, like I'm just doing this for the sake of it. It's always those charges at the beginning that do so much. They have the same boar ability I was just talking about. Look at her standing on the table. Okay, do I even need to kill all these? Just got to pay attention in case a green drops or something. Not that it usually will this early, but you know, my bag's going to be full and then I'm just not going to notice. I hate destroying stuff, but I don't have a choice. I mean, I can't afford a bag. There is an NPC that has like level 5 bags or something. 10 out of 10 sailors. So we're done with the sailors, but we still have to clear our way there. I'm almost an OCD type to like kill every single enemy in the area just because. To make it feel like I really cleared it out, or to clear a path so I feel like I'm safe so something unexpected won't happen. But we'll see. Yeah, this makes it seem almost too easy, but it's not like I'm going to level up in the experience of doing this. Yeah, he's going to be under-leveled. He's going to be permadeath intensive too, and he's also going to be untrained and unfed and unhappy. 75% of normal damage. And so he leaves my service. Now, I don't agree that that should count as him dying, right? He just left. That's the same as me dismissing it, which I'm allowed to do. So I don't know what to do then. I guess I'll just wait. I just won't use it. Oh, shit. I just won't. Oh, my God. I won't use a pet. This is my karma for him leaving me high and dry. I got getting overconfident there. I have a potion. I'm going to have to use it. Or I just have to get out of there. Wait, where'd the other one go? Oh, they stack up in such a convincing way. I don't even have the racial up. So he left my service, and the same thing's just going to keep happening over and over. So he's going to be super far behind in experience. I actually don't know what to do about it. That's kind of bullshit. Like, I'm not going to get the spells for a while, so I just have to deal with it. I'm playing kind of very casually, too. So my pet will be super far behind, or I guess what I could do is just, you know, get one that's my level at that point. That's why it's easy to catch up. I want one that's ranged, one that's melee, and one that's sort of like... and of course, you can't use maces. One that's melee, one that's ranged, and one that's maybe some kind of got some special ability that's useful. The Marines are 1 of 8. They do look pretty badass without armor. Some of this I almost want to do in first person, or we could even do it in the Alt-Z camera, which actually isn't Alt-Z. It's like the little... I had to change the keybind because it does that stupid NVIDIA thing. Of course, you could die like that without even realizing it. The running away in fear part is really annoying, but I guess I'm getting kind of lax just because of how low level they are. Which is, you know, it's a double-edged sword. I'll get myself killed because I want to fight too many at once. We're turning this into a regular Diablo experience where it's just quantity over quality of enemy encounters. I'm actually surprised how easy it was, though, to get from level 1 to 10. Only one enemy really gave me a hard time, and that was the level 8... the level 8 hex trolls on the islands because of their shock shield. Not even because of anything they were doing. Just I was doing it to myself by meleeing like a clown. And because I have to hit them so many times because my damage isn't that good. But when it comes to the rest of the experience, level 1 to 10 as a hunter should be one of the hardest experiences possible because of just how... Wow, look at that. They must have buffed hunters. They made it easy mode compared to the original. Not that I would even know that super well. But no, it's like... The level 1 to 10 experience as a hunter has got to be one of the most brutal, even if you do use the bow, because you just don't have your pet yet. You can't even use your bow all the time. But even without using the bow at all, it still wasn't that hard. Even, you know, no enchants, no special gear, nothing. it's really not that big of a deal. So I guess the game's bad then because it's not hard enough. Ha ha ha. The way that, oh, you know what I do like to look for in stuff like this is like a chest though. If there's a chest that makes it kind of worth it, or I love how much they reuse these broken house models too, like in Theramore. There's always this associative process I did with Skyrim and Theramore, or with Dustwallow Marsh. There's like a burned down house as soon as you enter, and that always reminds me of the, or vice versa. The burned down house in Markarth always reminded me of that for some reason. It's just so random, but I always think of the two together. Okay, we need a few more of these, so we don't need to kill the sailors, and I mean, I'm still gonna have to just to fight my way through. It's not even that I'm trying to grind or get too much experience, but you almost can't help it. And I did want to get my fishing and stuff up, but mainly I just want to get that sexy 9 silver fishing pole from that guy. We obviously can't use the auction house. That's something I did in my older playthroughs too, so it's not like you really... Nothing's really new in this aside from the melee only, like making it a unique class. I don't know whether I decided that because it was too, you know, because hunters are just too easy of a class, or if I did it because, you know, just I felt like mixing it up, and I wasn't planning to do this in the first place either. 31, don't need it. Although that could effectively save me repair costs. We're gonna have to metagame to that point. Okay, I'm getting a little bit too lax. The Witcher problem here, where I don't go into combat at full health when I have plenty of food. I'm just a bit of a loot hoarder more than anything else. Not only will I not use the items, but even when I need to use them potentially, I still won't want to do it. So now we have these 2 or 3, and there is going to be a chest kind of moment. Some of these quests are going to be pretty hard to do, so it's not like I'm saying that I'll do 100% of all quests in the game. His aggro range is actually pretty decent considering that he's only level 7. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to ignore the pet and just not use it at all, ever. So just forget it. We melee hunter, no bow, no abilities, no pet, nothing. He just left my service. At least I answered my question, and at least he didn't turn on me and try to kill me. If I get a raptor, it might be the other one. We had kind of a bad experience with that guy. We'll try to wash our mind clean and do the orange one that I was thinking about before. So of course I did all that by design. It's a good way to test it too, right? Like, even that's a learning experience. You might think, oh, what a waste, that's so bad, that's so suboptimal. That's part of the fun of hard modes or any sort of experience, is like, and that's not even because of a hard mode component, but still, right? That's part of the fun, is like, you have to make mistakes, you have to learn, you have to experiment, and that's kind of what could get you killed, but that's also part of the fun. Not everything should be set in stone, so I didn't know how that interaction worked, and now I do. So going forward, what happens if you jump in that? You probably just get one shot somehow, or you get stuck, which I don't know if I should be allowed to use auto unstuck stuff. Oh, of course, you just float on it. I'm not a priest, dude. Why do I look like so big compared to them? Is this how... Huh. Is this the average human model that you would really look this much bigger? You're a troll, not a giant. I guess I don't remember being that different. Like, Taurens, you understand, but this is a human, not a gnome. Oh, this is what I mean. Like, I'm not even paying attention to it. So that makes a huge difference. I wish I could just set this item down on the ground for a second and then do it, but no. You have to destroy it first, or let my pet hold it for me. That's the one difference in Skyrim. Like, you don't have a companion, you have a pack mule. You just give them all your endless amounts of shit, and they can seemingly carry infinite amounts of stuff. Yeah, it's going to be like 1 level per episode, if even that, kind of an experience. There was no intention to make this a fast series. Like, even all the card games I was playing went on for 3 to 4 months. Like Pokemon Online TCG or TCG Live and stuff. So it's not meant to be like a main series for me, but I guess it's so good that I guess I still consider it. Oh, here we go, the chest, which now I finally have room for. I guess my bag theory is confirmed. The only reason I wasn't getting... Didn't that sound like a male thing? And it wasn't the other guy either. I mean, I have potions. If I have to use it, I'll use it. Fighting multiple things at once is a nightmare, especially when you don't have your pet. That was kind of a bad breakup moment, but at least he didn't fucking... That's what I was afraid of, that he would, like, I'd be about to die, and then not only will he leave my service and force maybe more stuff to attack me, but also he would kill me himself just to take revenge for me starving the guy. So at least it's a happy ending. Like, he doesn't die of starvation. He actually just leaves my service. Because I'm a bad trainer. So that should hurt my overall karma in the whole experience. Now, some of this stuff might be important because how am I going to get silver leaf as a, assuming I need it for some kind of potion or recipe or something? Not that I'm going to become an alchemist, but how will I ever get it if it's not from this? I can't use the auction house. I can't do anything. That's especially important with stuff like this, right? This malachite is going to be god tier because I'm going to be an engineering player too. And a lot of that's going to be super hard to level. So we'll get to see pretty much for the first time, because I never really dicked around with engineering too much. How hard is it really to get engineering up there? And the answer is probably impossible without using third-party resources, or maybe I'll prove that that's easy too. It would be nice to have the mining skill, but the thing is it won't make me any money because I won't vendor. Oh shit, did you just respawn or did I? Are you just happy to see me? I didn't notice you there. Yeah, I guess the size disparity is not something I thought about a lot. Not with trolls, at least. Look how fucking dinky they look. Now, we've already filled this part up. It's unfortunate. I don't like to keep going back to town, though, every 5 seconds, so... What is on the backside here? And what was in those boats? Because I kept looking at those from like, the Senjin Isles or the water outside of it. We got to remember our other condition, which is to sort of fish in every... That's like a side quest. Fish in every body of water that we come across, which will include Stormwind and Darnassus or something, so I'll fucking get myself killed there. I don't think that's very fair to expect. But what am I in combat from? I'm not. Yeah, I would almost want to explore this, but who knows if there's some higher level stuff in there. I don't know what this area is. This is a level 5. That is interesting, but I don't feel super confident about it. At least if you're a rogue or something, you have some out. That is the perfect explorer class. Not only can you escape from any situation, you can also just... We're going to discover some flavor that nobody's ever looked for, because there's no reason to come here. I'm sure some quest does tell you to come here. If I had like humanoid tracking or something, that would favor me a little better. Or you know what it is, it's like you go into some high level area potentially where you don't know whether there's enemies or not, and you have to guess as an expert hunter within the game, within RP, what tracking should I use? You have all of them available, but you should have to pick one, right? So I could choose humanoid tracking, and if it's like some kind of undead spectral knight that kills me in here, then I won't see it coming ahead of time. You should have to make that decision. Level 6 Makuras, I don't really see the point in fighting these, but there must be something in these shipwrecks. Like, what is the point of this area? I don't remember any quest telling me to go here, or maybe they will later. You have to, like, collect some kind of plunder from these. None of the quests I have are telling me to do that. Looks like I got stuck there a little bit, but it is still a cool site. Not only have I not really explored these areas, but even as Alliance, I wouldn't really explore in this great detail, like where I look at every little thing. Or sometimes with these ships, you can go through like the bottom of them. There's like these little holes you can go into. The Betrayers, not talking about Illidan either. I hate how they bring stuff back like that in any story. That's just like a bad writing technique, right? Illidan was good, he was dead in BC, and they should have just let it be. But that's not only did they run out of ideas and recycle something, but they also basically crap all over the impact of what was supposed to happen right the first time. It was supposed to be a meaningful outcome, like with Frieza in Dragon Ball Super. Okay, it's lazy, it's recycling, it's all that kind of stuff, but it also diminishes the epic moment where Goku becomes a Super Saiyan and doesn't even kill him, but still beats him, and then Trunks kills him, which is, even that kind of cheapens it a little bit. That was kind of a weird way to get rid of such a major character, but it's kind of just the show saying, you know, we're way past the Frieza point right now. We got to worry about some other androids and, you know, other stuff. But yeah, that to me just kind of cheapens your own lore when it's like, oh, you go through all that. He was the boss of the whole expansion. You do the Black Temple. Sure, Sunwell was like a bonus thing, but nobody really expected that to be there in the first place. That was almost like the AQ of the expansion, where it's just, yeah, these things can be sneaky. I love the way it looks when you like fight stuff through the water. And then I love that quote by Akira Toriyama. He's like, oh shit, look at what I'm doing, like a clown. No, but I should make some rule like that, another hard mode format. You can only use this like in town. You can only change your tracking in town. So if I'm out in the wild, I have to assume like, okay, I'm going to fight some beasts now, so I want beast tracking on. Or I'm going to a humanoid area, so you track what you think is going to be relevant, and then in the middle of combat, you just have to deal with it. Not that it's even a super important ability, but it could be helpful. Make sure you're not going to aggro like a million things together. Yeah, Akira Toriyama said, like, oh, well, Cell is too tedious to draw, therefore I'm not going to do it. Imagine using the inability or the tedium of a guy who has freckles on him and your inability to draw them as a reason not to recycle a character in a multi-million-dollar franchise IP. Just think about that for a second. That is a mind-blowing level of entitlement. I don't want to draw a character that I've already drawn before that was so popular that made me millions of dollars through the whole series collectively, and no, because he has fucking freckles and I'm too lazy to draw them and they're too cumbersome, I guess, to draw. He said something like that. Therefore, I won't recycle a character and have all the writing and work done for me in the first place. Right? You don't have to write a character, draw a character from scratch. Have half of the writing done for me just because we've already loved the character, already developed the character. So instead, I'm going to do Frieza. And then I guess they did do Cell in like some other stupid movie like Superhero or whatever, but I don't like how fans just take that at face value and they defend it so tooth and nail. Like, isn't it possible that a show could just have bad writing? Is that never a possibility? Or isn't it possible that they could just be lazy and recycling stuff and exploiting people as much as they do it? That's why I try to never call myself a fan of something, because even this, like, I call it maybe the best game ever made, but doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean that, you know, I would say, oh, I'm a Warcraft fan or this or I guess I have called myself that though a lot. Warcraft lore mega fan who shits all over all the retcon stuff. Even the Draenei were a major retcon, but not nearly as bad as the fucking Pandaren, which apparently they were thinking about releasing pandas for BC alongside Blood Elves, like as the Alliance race, but I never really... Or wait. How could that be? That doesn't even make any sense, because... I don't know, I never heard anything like that, so... maybe it's true, but... It was always so insulting to me, because... These two almost look like they were connected, like it's just that big of a ship, but they're not. I don't know why I'm even doing this. I'm sure I'll have to come here later for something. Or like you can explore the bottom of the ocean for little treasure chests. That's what rogues would do and stuff, like to practice lockpicking. See, there's so many little insular mechanics. That's one of the greatest achievements of WoW Classic that also resonates through most RPGs, is like every class or every profession or every little thing, it's not just there and you just do it. It has its own mechanics and own places in the world that just exist for that reason alone. So like there'll be that stone just for, in Valley of Trials, there's that one stone just for shamans. That's the only reason it's there. Nobody else can use it. Or that makes everything feel a little more special. Like there's these lockboxes. Nobody can open the lockbox except for a rogue. Or maybe with a key or something in some cases. So yeah, you probably have to collect these. I don't know why I'm scoping this area out so much. Totally power leveling, over leveling, but the price of that is going to be that a lot of this stuff is going to give me less and less experience, so what does it really matter? I can't wait till I can use like a two-handed weapon though, which I actually could theoretically do now, but I just can't afford anything. Two-handed axes, we can also dual wield at like level 20. We can use mail at level 40, which I totally forgot about. Like I knew you could do it, but I forgot that exactly how you got it. It's the same way that you get plate as like a warrior or paladin, but just the simple fact that you have to kind of train it, and it's going to be confusing to keep track of that actually, because all the mail stuff I get, I'm going to have to save. Like at least once I get to my bank, I can do stuff. Definitely don't want to die because of drowning, so I'm kind of asking for trouble now. I have a bit of a bad association with areas related to water, not because of that, but because everybody always hates water levels. In fact, in games, I don't mind them always. I guess it depends on the mechanic. Like, it's objectively a bad thing because if the game's not made as this, you know, the game is made to be played on land, so all the mechanics are land-based, like walking, running, jumping. So it only makes sense that water levels would be bad because that's not what the game was designed for in the first place. Like Donkey Kong 64 is a great game, or Super Mario 64, but then, you know, you spend these whole levels underwater. Of course, they're going to be a little bit awkward because they maybe didn't put as much time developing Gloomy Galleon or Dire Docks or something as they did to develop what you're going to be doing on land. So that is an interesting way to look at it. This auto walk is kind of cheese. I guess you can't tell whether I'm doing it or not, but like I could just play the game without even playing it. Just let the game play itself, more like Modern WoW. I don't even say anything bad about Modern WoW because I'm not qualified, right? Like that's where I'm sort of objective. It's not even that, oh, WoW Classic is so perfect and current WoW is so bad. My argument would be more like it's more groundbreaking, right? In 2004, this game was legendary, revolutionary. In 2023, is the current state of WoW really that big of a deal? It's probably still a good game. It's still probably one of the better MMOs out there. Maybe. I don't know one way or another, so I'm not going to say anything about it because I haven't played it and I don't really care. Even when I quit, it wasn't because I thought, oh, the game's so bad. It was because of the simple fact that I just kind of felt satisfied. I played Vanilla a good amount. I played BC a good amount. I played Wrath a ton. I actually played the most of Wrath as anything. Not even because I liked it more, but just because, you know, when I was kind of younger when the other two came out, and I didn't really play stuff that much. Like, I would play, you know, every day a couple hours, but it wasn't like an insane amount the way that people have grown to become accustomed to. Kind of like thanks to MMOs and stuff, because before that, it's like, wow, I beat Metroid Prime in 20 some odd hours. I had this little rule, like, if it takes 24 hours to beat a game, you did something wrong. Like, that's like a rite of passage. You should be able to beat every single player game. And of course, that's all I had really played up to that point in 24 hours or less. Not even that I was rushing through it, but that's a reasonable amount of time. So even with that, I was like, wow, that took almost 24 hours for me to beat to 100% or whatever. And that felt like, wow, that's so long. But on the flip side, you have these games that people play for thousands of hours, so it kind of introduced that mindset to people. Just whether you're able to, you know, you're going to start playing 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day or something during summer break or whatever the case may be. It definitely changed the whole landscape. And not, you know, not this game specifically, but any of these type of games. It could be EverQuest, it could be, yeah, don't even get me started on chess. Like, that's totally applicable there too. But you should probably keep that mace instead of this. Like, as much as I'm complaining about money, I do like the fact that I just got so sidetracked by these ships. This is how this playthrough is going to be. Like, you know, people might not like it. It is what it is. Like, this is the point. Because, yeah, so, like, I haven't really explored this part. Or maybe I have, but it's been so long. Any horror stuff I did would have been in, like, 2005 or whatever, when I first started playing the game. Or it would have been... It might have even been 2006, but then how did I do so much just into... I was definitely late to start WoW. It might have been like at the end of 2005, right, beginning of 2006. So, yeah, like, even when I say whatever I did, it wasn't that big of a deal. It's not like I was on the cutting edge, or I was just kind of doing whatever I felt like. Yeah, I barely even got to experience the game, period. And then people come here and they're so cynical, maybe because they played on unofficial servers so much that they take everything else for granted, which is fair enough, but I wasn't taking that really into account with a lot of what I said. It's not even to say Blizzard is blameless or they did everything right or anything like that. Botting, other issues, like I left all that out of the conversation, but it was more just about... So I missed like maybe the two ships here. It is kind of pointless to do this because if a quest is going to take me there, then it feels kind of like a waste that I just did that. It is nice using the auto walk in this capacity to... Yeah, this is kind of dumb, because I assume that quests are going to take you there, but what if they don't? Then I'll never get to explore this lovely little hut. This is almost the kind of place I would want to log out in, because I even set a rule there, too. So we introduce... How many new formats and rules can we introduce every day? Like, you can only track stuff, change your tracking when you're in town. That's the guy who just changed it 50 times in your menu here. Like when I was fighting the Makura, I was trying to attack it with my tracking by mistake because I was on the wrong toolbar. But no, I introduced that, but I also introduced last time the fact that you have to log out in a different place every time. I can't log out in Razor Hill twice, or I don't know about major cities. I guess it can be like in a different part of town at least. It's not that you can't log out in Orgrimmar, but you can't log out in the same quarter twice, or just to force me to sort of not stay in place for too long. I'll just stay in Razor Hill for like fucking 10 episodes and get to level 20 in Durotar somehow, even though you really probably can't. It's not like the monk who got to max level just by doing professions. Not even just by doing professions, but not even leaving the starting zone, I think. I keep getting tripped up by like, oh, I'm in combat, but I'm the one who's making that icon show up. I don't even have a fishing pole at all. I'm pretty sure I fished in this one. Or maybe it was that one. I'll have to remember those two. Basically, I want to get 9 silver so I can... You know what? I normally don't like doing this where I have to come back to town, but my backspace is in such a weird spot that I just don't know what to do. too many of these things are valuable or kind of good for maybe something later. I would hate to get rid of something and then regret it because it's going to be so hard to get it back. Is PvP enabled? I don't know what they're doing in that place that I don't know the name of. And then we sell all this shit. You might even question why I'm keeping so much food, which I even agree with. We can get like a raid buff here if we're about to fight like an elite or something crazy. So there will be certain quests that I, of course, just avoid, which is, in some ways, that's one of the downsides of this type of thing. Just the format being so... You're going to miss out on a lot of content, but that just shows you how much content there is. It's not going to be that big of a deal. So is there a better weapon that I could get? I mean, I do want to start doing the profession stuff. The sooner you start, the better it's going to be. So mining would be better to get. There's no reason to get engineering now, even though that is what I decided on. I like this guy's line. It's actually pretty good. I like to build stuff. Of course, I like to blow up stuff even more. Let's see if there's something. Apprentice blacksmith. Don't care about that. Weaponsmith. Tomahawk 4 to 9 is the same thing I'm using. Even if I had two-handed axes, how much better is it? 4.3. It's pretty fast, though, actually. Yeah, I won't sell that. I will sell that. I will sell that. I will sell that. Because, I mean, how much food can you really have here? 61. There's nothing special about it. At least this one's unique. The keep the rough stone. The water is fine. 151 mana. Yeah, mana's not going to be an issue at all because I can't use any abilities because they're all tied to being a hunter. So that's just lovely, isn't it? Let's go here. It cost only 10 cents, 10 copper. I don't see why I wouldn't do it. You have not lived until you've dug deep into the earth. Yeah, just tell that to the old gods, though. They'll fucking take you over and make you one of their minions or something. Like, I love that flavor text, like in Mulgore. They're talking about some expedition, I think, and we dug too deep into the ground and, you know, something, we unleashed something that we shouldn't have or something. You may only know 2 professions at a time. Would you like to train mining as your first one? You get smelting. I mean, I guess the fine minerals thing is going to fuck me over a little bit. Although, given how thorough I am, I kind of find them anyway. Smelt copper, smelting fine minerals. That does kind of screw up with the whole vibe of being a hunter. So let's look for... move these things down a little bit. And smelting fine minerals, smelt copper is just part of the thing. I could almost put this in my tracking thing too, but... just for the sake of professions, I'll put it here. 1, 2, 3. So... yeah, I don't think I'll actually even use that. It'll try to keep me aware and alert to the ability that... I mean, I can still choose to use it. I'm not going to say I'm not allowed to, but I'll try to stay alert and just find them on my own, which I've already kind of memorized where some of these are. Like, anytime there's one of these little rock structures out there, there's usually one around that. There was one on the backside of Terragard Fortress. And let's see, or Keep. It's not a fortress. So there's a lot of things I can't do, given the amount of money that I have. The one good thing is I don't have to worry about learning spells because I can't use them anyway, or most of them. The hunter takes on aspects of a hawk, increasing range attack power by 20, but I don't need to worry about that. Men pet. Now, this means you could learn it anyway, even if you don't go to... so give me feed pet too. Parry is 2 silver, but it's important because that's what we're putting our whole life stake into, although I won't be able to use the ability yet for a while that corresponds with that. Mail is fine. Serpent Sting I can't use. Requires ranged weapons. Stings the target, causing 20 damage over 15 seconds, which is really bad, actually. Only 1 sting per hunter can be activated per target. What is even the other sting? Like Wyvern Sting? As if it needs to specify that. An instant shot that causes 13 arcane damage. And this is where they got the idea for the arcane cards in Hearthstone that they made. You know, they made a lot of mage spells for that, but they made so many arcane, like arcane shot is a whole thing now for a hunter. Dazes the target, slowing movement speed by 50%. I like in stories like where some minor little thing gets associated with a character or like a story or whatever the case may be, just because it's in the thing early, right? Like, I can't think of a great example, but it'll just happen to be there, but now that'll be their iconic thing from that point on forever that they'll always be associated with. They didn't really think that far ahead that it would go on for that long. This is important. Parry is important. What I'm missing out on... oh, this is important too. But I mean, obviously, this is our bread and butter here. How much does it do compared to that? 5 versus 11. So that is kind of a big deal. And then parry, I just want... and I want to see what my base parry chance actually is. Be safe. Requires... gives a chance to parry melee attacks. I wonder if it would have said something different in there. I failed the complete flavor text run. We got 2% from here, so you would have almost like a 5% to parry. Fires melee weapon, gives a chance to parry melee attacks, and then, of course, Raptor Strike. We could do rank 1. That could be an additional hard mode criteria. What else is it telling me here? Why was that part glowing? We just saw that for smelting. So we got like our first meaningful upgrade there, and then I also got... That's at least nice, though. I want to actually pay attention and see how often that's happening. It'll be at least like 10%, which isn't that bad. 1 in 10 hits you'll mitigate from melee. Mongoose Bite. When do you even get Mongoose Bite? Counterattack. Now, this only has a 5-second cooldown, so it would be cool if you could spam that, but... You know, you can't really rely on parrying that much, or I'll pull multiple things to me just to be able to do that. So, I can't afford that other stupid thing. Hoping to get a few more bags. Again, we'll find the mines when we find them, but it's going to hamper my inventory even more. Yeah, I'll make a real point not to use the fine minerals, actually. So we need a couple more marines, and I also need the Benedict guy. I always love these arbitrary amounts. I go here and kill a few of them. It doesn't matter. Oh, I just need Benedict, period. And I won't kill critters out of respect the fact that I'm a hunter, even though we should be a little spiteful at the fact that our pet just ran away. But then again, it's my fault for not feeding it. But then again, it's not my fault because it wasn't my choice not to feed it. I just couldn't do it. Like, for example, here would be, they turn into like a detective experience. This would be a great spot for a mine to be. And I already know that there's one back there. Imagine actually looking around for yourself and paying attention to your environment. Even classic WoW, as much as it was more old school in a lot of ways, it still kind of babies you in those ways. Like, how hard is it just to find a mining node on your own? Yeah, maybe I will make a point to that. I'm never allowed to use the track minerals because I'm a hunter too. And so the hunter gets to choose one every time you're in town as far as what to track. And the humanoid one is actually going to be pretty good here. I don't have the money for it. So what else do I want to buy? I want to buy... that, which is 4 silver. I want to buy the thing for 9 silver at the guy, the dude who's at Senjin Village, the fishing pole. And then I want to buy like some other profession, maybe engineering. I don't think that one was 10 silver. And yeah, mining is so fucking cheap, actually. 10 copper. We may have made the crossroads decision last time, like between all these little things. As far as what pet to get, but now the pet is gone. As far as what professions to get, but I couldn't learn them because I couldn't afford them. And then what's the third one? What talents to go, but then they end up not really being maybe what I expected or wanted them to be. Oh, look at that. We're parrying back-to-back hits. But what even affects parry chance for you? Like, for a critical hit, like, would there be something that increases it besides that? That's the problem. Even if you were trying to go for that, you wouldn't be able to. So you can sneak behind here and get the mine. I almost want floating combat text just to show me that because it's so sexy to see the parries. Like, show me just only parries. Can I do that? Low mana and health. Combat state. Yeah. Dodge, parries, misses. Reactive spells and abilities. How about just that? And don't show me even like the damage values and stuff. Or maybe it'll still do that. I love that. We actually get 2 back-to-back. And this is like our first time. That was maybe our first enemy that we ever fought with parry active. Because even though I had a 2% parry chance just from the talents, I technically couldn't do it at all. Or I guess this much is okay. But now it's showing it like twice over. Or no, I guess not. It's just showing what I'm taking. Yeah, let's actually count the parries. Okay, 12 versus 16. And this is the cool thing about it being like a dead server. You don't have to compete for resources. But that's why we'll... Oh, fuck you. That's my fault. Damn it, that was supposed to be the epic first mine that we do. But little did we know. We thought we could just do it. We're an entitled little troll. We could just thought we could do it by bare hands. Or is that even entitled? Maybe we're just such a hard worker. We could break our axe to do it. Just do it manually. So I don't even need to kill these. I don't know why I'm even doing this. We got to come back for that mining node, though, actually. Dodge. So it's only showing what's happening to me. So I guess that's fair. It doesn't make it too easy. It's a little bit immersion breaking, maybe. In fact, I kind of don't even like it. All I want to see is when I parry something, but I guess I can't make it Show target damage, periodic damage, pet damage. Do not flash train at low health. Yeah, I should be able to figure that out myself. Always when you're turning a corner like that, that can be very deadly and devastating. Okay, we've killed enough of these poor humans, says the Alliance player who always played as a human specifically. I almost do things in a sort of ironic way, like please give me another bag. It's not that I played humans because I thought they were such a cool class, a cool race. It's because I thought they were almost the most boring one, so I thought I'll save the other ones for later. Same thing with classes, like, oh, I play a warrior because they're just the most basic banal thing. I mean, I guess a mage is cool, but then I wanted to save it. Like, one day I'll play a druid because that seems the most interesting at the outset. Oh no, not this clown person. Not that I know who it is, but just anybody. Now, in the time that it takes to explore, they're gonna... Zalafil is like a rare. I think I can take him. Or he's gonna kill steal it. Or he's gonna help me or something. I don't know what's going on. Kill the ad first. Get the target credit. I don't mind using a potion. Little boss fight here. Now if something pats through. See, this is where I don't like it. He could be helping me without me being able to stop it, or without me knowing. With the use of a potion, it should be fine, but it's possible that he's going to do some kind of crazy ability. Whenever you get to like a third health or a quarter health, you always have to watch out for that. They'll just do some unexpected like Earth Shock or Fire Blast or here Judgment that'll just do like half your health unexpectedly and just kill you. And also this is annoying because of how much health he has. He'll run away super far. So we could get something from that that's very valuable. We'll save that till we get to level 40, unironically, because we'll have something male. You might even laugh at that, but what if I never get another male thing for the rest of the thing? It's, I don't know. Not very likely. Now he's got his eyes on the prize as far as Benedict, so I do kind of want to kill steal. This just ruins the whole thing, though. I didn't get to fight my way there organically. At least he has the respect not to really help. I always like to RP that like I'm escaping off the roof as soon as I do this too. He's level 8, level 6. So what the problem is going to be that I'm not going to be able to use my racial, which I'm going to have to do. And these two will most certainly aggro together. I can't think of a way to avoid that. They've only had a pet to hold it off or something. What you could almost do is kill one of them and then run away and then kill the other one. Because like we just saw with the other encounter, I could barely take those two together. Maybe I'll just come back for it. It's so stupid, man. Why is that even aggroing to me? Why should I have to help you with that? What the fuck? What did that have to do with me? They aggroed it. I'm just standing here and it wasn't within aggro range. What the fuck? That was weird. Loose chain boots. Yeah, we're building up a male set here. At the very least, destroy stuff like this to be able to sort of sell the male. Let's see if there's a chest or something. Alright, so we'll just have to wait or come back. We can get our mining pick and then come back. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. I thought this was supposed to be a dead game. I thought everybody just speedran it and exhausted all the content, because clearly it's just an easy, bad game that everybody hates. Which is a little bit of straw manning and exaggerating, but still, the way that people treat it is stupid. Requires Benedict's key, which is something I would have to do later. He would jump off the side, but I don't know if that's going to kill me or not. I'm not going to play risky with stuff like that. That much you can be safe with. Rogues kind of have something that reduces fall damage, so that's not too bad. Competing for resources is a key MMO thing, which I don't even mind that, but not if it's going to potentially help me. I even get a rare spawn, which again, stuff like that should be pretty easy to get because you're not competing with as many people, maybe. I kind of want to sell all this stuff. I'm not going to do the mail thing like I was joking about, but I do need a lot of silver. And of course, killing humanoids is a good way to get it. That person's imp is just completely bugged out of there. They're going to leave the same way that my pet did. Yeah, I honestly didn't even know that interaction existed. Like, I knew something bad was going to happen, but I thought he might just hate me and still stick with me. Yeah, it's the right idea. Relationship advice for real life. What's happening? Oh, I'm targeting the wrong one. When somebody wrongs you once, that's always like my philosophy. Don't give them too many second chances. Like, oh, I was in a bad relationship, whatever, for 6 years. Well, then why didn't you leave after 1? Why didn't you leave after, you know? I'm especially like that. This is like a little psychology tidbit of the day, since I'm always have such a background in psychology, is the idea that let's say somebody does something wrong, like they physically do something, whatever the case may be, right? And it's like, oh, we made up, we fought, it was a mistake, they apologized. I'd be like, fuck that. Like, in none of my relationship, this is just anecdotal, nobody has ever physically done anything, or, you know, one way or the other. So like, that didn't even cross the table, right? Somebody who actually cares about you and respects you would never do that. So as soon as anybody does that ever, you should just automatically leave that and set that as a standard in society that, like, you know, we could argue, we could hate each other, we could have fights or whatever, but that never even came to mind that anybody would hit each other or do anything like that. So I find that ridiculous that anybody would put up with that. If you do it once, you're out. That's it. Like, again, even my worst enemies wouldn't necessarily do that, anything like that. So that's a good standard to adopt, as much as it maybe seems like, oh, victim blaming, like, oh, you're blaming me for staying in a relationship where I was, you know, enduring all these horrible things, but then why the fuck did you stay in it? Even if like financial dependence is kind of an argument, that's not a very good reason still. I can't believe I forgot the mining pick. I would still like a few more bags here. That is a good minimalist combination with absolutist mindset, is like, don't give people 3 strikes, just give them 1 strike and then fuck it. That might make it very hard to, you know, have anything that lasts too long, but then it makes it more authentic too. Even that was kind of the impetus of some of those situations, like, was my psychology interest. That's how we sort of met. It's always a good, I don't know, I've just always been so obsessed with anything to do with that. We sell all this shit, we keep some of these resources, sell this 4, and then the rest we'll just have to wait. So I'm being stingy as far as bag space, but it's okay, as long as we don't miss a bag from something. And repair our stuff. Wait, I thought NPC names were on, though. What? Why did those turn off? That's weird. I mean, it's fine. You get to see them when you're talking to them. They have to, like, introduce themselves. Hello, I'm selling you shit. My name is Warwick. His name is Dwok. I hear one comment. Okay, that kind of got interrupted, so I feel like that breaks the authenticity of it. Like, what if I have to do that? Like, real life stuff, I get interrupted, like, in the middle of combat. I guess I'll just have to mute it and just go back to a safe zone like a town, but that kind of is annoying. So I hear one comment about waterfowl, and you will be eating through a tube. Even these guys have flavor text. Care to learn how to turn the ore that you find into metal armors and weapon? I guess we could do that for mail purposes later on, once we get to learn mail. I mean, that's not something I ever did, even on my super low level hunter. Like, you know, level 25, I guess I had something to look forward to. But what's going to be interesting is getting the mount, too. Because I obviously do want to get the mount some point between level 40 and 60. But I guess as a hunter, you don't have to worry about it too much. As a hunter or a druid, you at least have good mobility regardless. So how much does engineering cost to learn? I like to build stuff. Okay, we've read that. Oh, it does only cost 10, so I guess maybe I was just being apprehensive. I was acting like, oh, last time I didn't have enough money, so I didn't want to bother doing it. Engineering is very simple once you grasp the basics. Actually, it's one of the most complicated things imaginable, at least from a crafting standpoint. Light shot, which is kind of teasing me, like, oh, I bet you wish you could use a bow, because that's so fitting for it. So in a weird way, it's actually kind of relevant for hunters if you can make stuff like that, or at least more like dwarven hunters, or at least gnomes do that for them. The gnomes get to be the dwarves' bitch and say, make me all my ammo, because obviously dwarves are one of the only 2 races for Alliance that can become hunters. And here it can be orc, troll, or tauren, which kind of makes sense. Rough dynamite, rough blasting powder. So you might think, oh, this is kind of cheese, and this is like one of those pay to win, you know, get carried by your main type of experiences where, oh, you know, your main will mail you all these bombs and stuff, or the materials to be able to carry you through, and you're doing like 100 damage like this, you know, anytime you want at a low level. But the difference here is it shouldn't be super easy to get the materials without the mailbox, without the... I didn't do this on any of my other 3 characters either. The only thing I remember was I was definitely an alchemy herbalist on my warrior. Besides that, I forget. Let's go ahead and get the setup. So this is almost stuff I should have done last time, because last time was sort of me trying to choose all these things that I wanted to do, which I guess I made the decision, but I didn't. In fact, this one I almost want to put first out of respect for its significance. The other one's just a gathering skill. So engineering, light shot, rough dynamite, blasting powder. So you can make the blasting powder, which is what? It'll be just a base for other stuff. I mean, not only did I not do this profession really ever, but I've obviously forgotten what I even know about it. Inflicts 26 to 34 in a 5-year radius. Now, what's so fun about that is I could use that as a regular part of my rotation, assuming I had enough materials for it, or at least whenever I feel like that. See, I don't want to be too stingy with it because I'm sacrificing all my other abilities to do with the bow and stuff, so I can't use this one. Who would have thought? As a hunter, I can't use the crafted light shot, but I can use everything else. So this will still count. I can't use ranged, but you know, I can still use this. I want that not even because, oh, I feel like I need it. I want it because, oh, you should RP like you have to be around here to do it. At least I'll say I can only craft stuff in towns. I'm not going to craft stuff out in the wild, even if that conserves me space or does something for me useful. So, yeah, we have to do a first-person style like Skyrim RP like you're crafting in the forge. I wanted to add sort of a layer to my character. That's the real reason why I'm doing it, which you could say is just a cop-out, like, oh, you're just going to make it too easy by doing this. Because it's not going to be fun otherwise, right? I'm not going to have any abilities. Mongoose Bite, that's pretty much it. I'm going to get this one, like the counterattack whenever I parry. But other than that, I'll be relying mostly on my pet and maybe stuff like this. So I'm satisfied with doing it this way. In fact, I don't even want to do it yet because it'll just waste space in my bags. So what was I in the middle of doing? I want to go to Tiragard Keep, and I want to finish off Benedict. Somebody kill stole it from me, which is kind of bullshit, and I still don't know why that thing aggroed to me. No, dude, no. So we got our professions, and so what is the last thing I have to do, basically, is just... We're kind of missing out on spells. So even though we got the pet last time, we got kind of cucked this time because they just ran away, which I can't blame them for doing. Definitely, it was for the best. That's like my immersion hurting my chat experience or my viewership. Like, oh, everybody just leaves because I'm dicking around town for hours and reading every bit of quest text. The same way that the pet is kind of treating me like that. Like, this dude is literally dicking around like for 10 hours before he ever goes to Orgrimmar to learn the spell that allows him to feed me. So I'm fucking out of here. I'm not going to put up with this. So the next thing I want to buy, well, first of all, I'm not allowed to use tracking, like I said, for the resource. And it feels very fitting for a hunter. Like... Although maybe if anybody should be allowed to do that. I did use it on my warrior, though, the track flowers. So we'll make that a new rule. I'm not even allowed to use it. I won't even have it on my bar. So you can only do the smelting and the thing here. So what other professions do I need? The first aid. I need the... Boy, my memory is shit. Fishing, first aid, and cooking. I guess I don't play this game like every day for my entire life the way that a lot of people do. As much as I like it. You know, it doesn't mean that. Or even when I do, I almost deliberately keep myself in the dark about stuff too. It's not like I know every little intricacy. I actually know very little about engineering. Of course, it was a very big deal for a lot of people, but I just never bothered to do it. You would almost think I would have done it on my mage just because you can do some cool tricks and, you know, PvP type stuff, but I just never bothered. Too lazy. So I hope these drop some bags. That guy's in a pretty cool perch up there. You can treat them like they're NPCs, like they're other, you know, soldiers going around the world trying to do tasks. Sometimes they'll get in your way and sometimes they'll help you. I actually find that more annoying. I'd rather get killed by a player and end my run that way, or get sabotaged and get fucked over, than to get helped, because that kind of invalidates the merit of the thing. Let me guess, he's a miner too, because everybody's going to be, because that's how you make money or something. Because there was one like over here. I missed out on an organic dynamic first discovery of a mine. Oh no, it's still there. Because of some fucking person who killed Benedict. I did it. Oh, I made the same mistake twice. Never make the same mistake twice where you have to delete your account. I didn't get the mining pick yet again. I got engineering. Oh my god. So we'll definitely do these quests here. We'll kill these quill boars. I almost wanted to do it all in like one trip, but I was hoping that the humanoid aspect would come into play as far as dropping bags, which I guess it did a little bit. It's so frustrating, in fact, I'm almost considering just, fuck it, I'll become a tailor just to make my own bags if it's going to be this annoying, but it wouldn't really make sense to do that. We'll go all the way back to town. Okay, this is unnecessarily tedious because I've done this like twice over. Or you know what? It's not like, I wanted this to be the one though. It just feels fitting. Okay, I'll go back, I'll come back. The biggest thing of what I want to do here is I actually want to get that fishing pole. I can't stop thinking about it now. That troll stick in Senjin Village really has stolen our heart. It's like a 9 silver thing, and there's like only one of them that you can buy. And for some reason, I think of that as a mechanic that's kind of like you can only do it if you sort of, if another player buys it in the same span of time, you can't do it. Or maybe that was added later. Like it's a rare schematic that there's only one of from the vendor, and only one player in the area at the time can buy it or something, and then it resets on a cooldown. There was definitely some mechanic like that later, but I mean, the server's so dead, it shouldn't matter. Nobody probably even wants that in the first place. I guess this is good though, so you don't accidentally do something that could break the rule, but you know, I'm a hardened veteran of this format anyway. Those are the most intuitive things that you wouldn't want to do anyway. Obviously, you don't want to mail stuff. Obviously, you don't want to buy from the auction house or trade with people. Also, I guess that's technically not disallowed. It doesn't always say that. I shouldn't even really target people, but kind of immersion breaking. This is a story playthrough as much as it's yeah, the horde is pretty fresh for me, and a lot of these classes are going to be fresh. So if I have to check off my list, what classes do I still have to get to 60? I still have to do a warlock. I have to do a warlock, druid, shaman, paladin, warlock, druid, shaman, paladin, hunter. I've done mage, warrior, rogue, priest, and I still have to do those 5 that I just said that I haven't played, obviously, in permadeath. But I also have to do a mage, because even though that was my first main character, I obviously didn't do it in a permadeath sense. So who sold it? Yeah, this guy actually sells the mining pick, which has nothing to do with miners need a mining pick for digging. 10 out of 10 flavor text. Put that in the Hall of Fame next to the Luigi's Mansion. He ate himself to death, but still wasn't satisfied. And also the Hollow Knight. They had their food brought to them. That's why they went extinct. That's such a good. Yeah, Grubhub is what extincted humanity in an extrapolated sense. Like when you get that lazy, you lose the life skills needed to get it in the first place. Right, you rely too much on your technology and stuff. So this can go somewhere around here. The potion should be here, pretty essential. And you put it like this. So it's interesting that we actually need linen cloth for what we're trying to do. So there's only like 3 saleable slots that I can use. And whether I make this into blasting powder or not, it doesn't matter because it's going to have to stack. They could be doing some romance RP. The only romance I want to have, not in a weird way, obviously, is with our pet, because we started off on the wrong foot, so we're kind of traumatized, still getting over that one, and we're not. Fuck you. That's a good way to sabotage. I'm such a big streamer. People are trying to ruin my whole experience. They could spam buffs on you and stuff and heal you and kill stuff for you or steal stuff from you. There's a lot of ways that they could kind of fuck up your general experience. So what I'm trying to do here, I do like how the nameplates don't come up unless you look for it. I turn on floating combat text just because I want to see the parries. It is very satisfying. I'm not going to keep looking there all the time. So we do have like a 6% chance, right? We start with 4. We have almost a 7% chance. That is pretty satisfying. Even 10% isn't that bad for a non-tank character. I don't know how dual wielding works, like old Death Knight style of I'm going to be a tank with a 2-hander or a tank with 2 1-handers. So we're subverting the idea that our pet should tank, but the problem is our pet's gonna, become so strong over time, and we're not gonna scale up with it because we're not gonna be using our abilities or our bow. So what if, I'm trying my best to tank, but we still can't? There's not like a great threat generating ability, is there? When activated, increases your dodge and parry chance for 25 seconds for 25% for 10 seconds. I mean, that combined with feign death should get you out of most tough spots too. Decreases the chance that they will resist. Oh yeah, traps are going to be our primary mechanic too, because we're allowed to use those no matter what. We will truly be survival. See, Beast Mastery seems too vanilla to do. In fact, I was almost still debating on not getting a pet because it would be too busted. Right, it just makes it too easy. You don't need an item for engineering. So we're pretty much all set with what our bag has to have. We just need that fishing pole, and then everything else is fine. Or we need like flint and tinder. I would always carry around. The old school Tinder experience, better love story than the actual app, is just so you can make a fire, even though I never really did that out in the wild, or arguably I shouldn't even be allowed to do that. Or you know what, that'd be an epic RP thing. How I keep saying I have to log out in a different spot. Oh yeah, the failed attempts can be troll. I have to log out in a different spot, and therefore it's not like I can do a lower vein than this. This is the lowest one. Gonna pop my own IRL vein waiting for this shit, dude. Old school hardcore mechanics, even though this was said to be a casualized version of EverQuest. EverQuest and Magic are the 2 games that people always say. Blizzard copied, EverQuest with WoW, and they also copied they copied Magic with Hearthstone, but you know, so what? They made them better, or maybe Hearthstone's not even better than Magic, but it's obviously impressive. I think the whole no deck size limit, or being able to have like between 60 and 200 cards, or 250 cards, is such an amazing way to distinguish itself, though, and it makes the meta less clear, I'm sure. Not that I'm a Magic expert by any means. Played it like once a week for a couple hours since August, and in a very casual, kind of deliberately non-meta way. Trying to think like what perspective is best for RP purposes. I like to be closer into my camera. That's my whole criticism of Diablo. It feels like you're an RTS game, even further zoomed out than this. Your character's all tiny. It feels like you're playing an RTS game where you only control one unit. That's inherently immersion breaking for me. That's literally what it is. Like, oh, we're Blizzard. We made Warcraft. You know, Warcraft 1 and 2, we made StarCraft. So let's make a the game in the same perspective where you, but it's a more combat action focused game. It's a very antiquated kind of design that I don't think has inherent merits, at least in the context of, you know, sometimes certain genres exist. Like, I love turn-based RPGs, but they're objectively flawed, and they only existed because it was easier to design that back in the day than anything else, right? Why wouldn't you have the same experience with actual hands-on mechanics? There's no reason why you couldn't if you do the mechanics properly, so it's just objectively better. It's like a design shortcut. It's easier to let the player just choose options in a text-based menu than to let them do mechanics hands-on. So somebody's gonna kill Benedict and we're gonna have to wait. Or he's already waiting. I mean, this kind of ruins the whole thing. I almost don't even deserve the chest, and I can't even pick up really what's in there. This kind of ruins it, though, because it either makes it too easy or something. Silver Leaf, we got a snack going. I don't need the water. You could sell this stuff, I guess, but I'm going to have to pick up, like, Benedict's key or something. I mean, you'd want it to feel organic and fight your way through. That's kind of the whole thing. Or you should be able to turn off all social interaction. You should never actually sit down, because that's the ultimate bait, like as a mage. Oh yeah, I always got to sit down after combat to eat and drink, but then you get crit by something that spawns right on top of you, or a player, or something. What's funny is you could even do this in a PvP sense and just have to deal with it. Like, not if you're getting sniped by people, but just in a general sense, like, oh, you have to play on a PvP server, and so when you get in contested zones, if you get ganked, that's too bad. It runs over. Like, that's almost as far as I would go to try to make a format really authentic, but that's kind of not fair. So the sad part is we might benefit from a lot of these interactions that I don't want to. I was promised a dead game and a dead server, and I get this. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, like, people, did you hear about that cool hardcore thing? Let's use it as a gimmick to try to show off. Ha ha ha, I did a hardcore run. So I'll wait for them to actually respawn. And never mind the fact that you could have done those things in the first place. I guess people just lack imagination and require some sort of reactionary basis. I'd like to fight Benedict, but it wouldn't be fair to fight him. I am a troll of honor and integrity, and I'm missing my own pet. So we're analogizing this. We got to have him work together with his ally, because we can't do that ourselves. Because he abandoned us, because we mistreated him by not feeding him, because we don't know how to feed him yet. We tried to do it too fast, right? We're a zoomer troll. We don't understand that it takes years and effort to train and learn how to do all these skills. So they might respawn here too. This is not really the most fun way to go about this, but there's nothing I can do. I mean, it's supposed to be a single-player experience, so either you would have to fight your way there manually. I guess looting the chest is fine. We could have just done that after we fought him, but even then, I should make it so like I have to kill him first and then loot the chest like you earned it by doing the encounter. I do like all these chests in the overworld, because that adds a little bit of better depth to it. Sleeping pose. It's almost like you're playing dead. We're practicing feigned death. And of course, this is one of the immersion breaking elements. Like, how could he not see me? Or he just doesn't give a shit. Look at all these bones. These aren't like player bones, though. Okay. So there are a couple of maybe spells I want to learn, like humanoid tracking. There's so many things I need gold for, actually. So gold and silver for. And I don't really have a great way to make money. A lot of the stuff I don't want to sell, right? Like all the bandages. I guess I could sell some of them, though. Because, like, you got to get your... I really want to get to the bank, but we're not going to do that for a while. I mean, really, this is, like, my whole single-player style. Like, this is how I would play a single-player game. The difference is most single-player games aren't this big. Why would the respawn timers be this far off? Like, wouldn't they have killed them all together to get to him? Like, what is this? So what, somebody came in, killed these two, then left. And then somebody came in later and killed him. Or they somehow killed him first and then those ones already weren't there. Okay, this might make my whole experience look bad, but it's really not like this unless other players ruin it. See, it's always the other player's fault. Somebody fucking did this and it wasn't me because I haven't even been here. Well, I was here like an hour ago, but it was just because... And then somebody did still kill steal it, so I would have just done it right then. And I didn't want to kind of feel like I was benefiting from that. Even if I kill steal something for somebody else, right, that doesn't feel very authentic. Now we'll fight them as they materialize out of thin air. Respawns are one of the most dangerous things that could potentially get you killed too. I'm not a big fan of leaving stuff to chance, which again, if it was you, you'd be in control of what's going to respawn because you would know I killed that one guy, so it's possible that he'll come back if I stick around. But when other players do it, you won't know. I'll go into an area that I'm not familiar with and it's like, oh shit, 3 things just respawned on top of me that I had nothing to do with, so how was I supposed to know that was going to happen? I guess that's why you have feigned death and stuff, but not... Yeah, hunters are easy mode for those 2 reasons, right? Feigned death plus... Well, first of all, the aspect of the pack is just nice to get around, aspect of the cheetah. But more specific, although that could fuck you over if you get dazed. I always love doing that on my warrior, punishing people for using that in combat like clowns. But no. Yeah, that's why you have a pet around, because you're a clown from the circus. It's like a, you know... I say the same thing in chess. Ignore the horses and the elephants like from Chaturanga. This isn't a circus. And excuse my clown behavior too, because I'm so bad. But no, it's more... Man, why is it taking so long? It's more along the lines of the simple fact that you're able to... you know, you can't control what is going to happen. That's just what I don't like. You have to know... I guess you could always wait in an area if you think there might be respawns. Yeah, that's why hunters are super easy. Not only do you get a pet, but you also get an escape option, which not every class has. In fact, most of them don't have it. Even Ice Block, I almost don't count because you're not going to... You could wait for, like, Blink, but it's not going to save you. Like, if you're about to die, you'll still die. It's not going to heal you. It's not going to make you leave combat. Only good scenario I can think of is just use it to wait for Blink to cool down in case one Blink wasn't enough or something. Yeah, you don't want to use aspect of the pack in combat. In fact, I am going to be tanking. So when you look at the build so far, we have like a 7% parry chance. We have an 8% dodge chance. Like, we genuinely have a very good amount of mitigation. And you're not going to get block chance, obviously, but our damage will at least go up substantially when we get like a two-handed weapon, which I think an axe is very up my alley. It's even... What? Wait, but this guy... Wait a second. This guy was supposed to be down in the bottom, though, no? I think we can take him 1v1, but we might have to pop a potion, and by might, I mean we definitely have to. Which I'm perfectly fine with. Like, I'm playing it a little bit dangerously still. Watch out for the sexy parries. He's gonna do some crazy ability and kill me, and I'll deserve it, too. Wait, why isn't the combat text showing up now? Playing it very risky for no reason. Like, there's no need to do this. In fact, the act of him doing this is gonna fuck me over. Or like I have to use one now. I wasted a potion because that dude respawned on me. He was at the bottom last time. This is what I mean by respawns. He could drop a green or something though. This room is just so tight that it's like completely bullshit. Yeah, there's no rule against using stuff like that. Either engineering trick items or... I almost had like a Batman vibe. Like, I gotta have all these little things in my belt for an emergency situation. I guess at least that's something. But like you're in trouble, so you do a little flashbang to get away or whatever the case may be. A little bomb to stun them. So you'll do that. That's like the more literal interpretation of survival, I guess, in that sense. You're trying to just do things to mitigate, not really to... You're not going to just go into every combat encounter and do a bomb just for the fuck of it, for no reason. We kind of fought our way through this. I'm not too happy with using the potion because it might not be super easy to get them. I don't know exactly how to do it. So this guy will be a joke, actually, compared to even the Zalafil guy. We'll go in without full health, and he'll fuck us over. Want something else respawn, too. But we already pulled that one chick. Let's get a good look at him. Looks pretty basic. I like their tabard and stuff, and of course you get to see Kulturas and all this kind of stuff in BFA in greater detail and depth. I forget what happened with Dalen Proudmoore. He dies to like somebody in Warcraft 3. I think you kill him, but we got like a minor upgrade for the cape, and it looks pretty cool. Simple cape. So the chest we already got. Now we got to open the thing, although it didn't say we had to open it for this, so it'll probably be some... Oh yeah, I love that. That's like open world game design. Like you'll kill a random enemy and you'll get like an item that starts a quest, right? This item begins a quest. That's such a good sort of intuitive way to do it in a game like this. So if they did that enough, if you made like a single player version of WoW, you could make it so every quest is almost like that. So you can just go out in the world and do stuff, and it would maybe just start the quest on the spot. Let's figure out what this note leads to, who wrote it. Right, so you do quests without needing to go look for them or without needing to endure story and dialogue. Not that doing so is bad, but it gives you that flexibility where you can just do it by dynamically playing the game and it'll happen on its own. Aged envelope. Yeah, that's exactly what that is, which has nothing to do with the Admiral's orders. And as I'm reading them, they come to get me. You open the aged and weathered envelope and discover an official-looking document. You recognize the seal of Admiral Proudmoore. This looks important. Perhaps Garthok, the commander of Razor Hill, would be interested in having this information. So it's going to be something that saves their reputation. Like, don't attack the orcs, but they didn't listen. They're like, fuck you, I still want to do it anyway, because we want to take it revenge for whoever was here before who got taken out. Right? Because it couldn't be something negative. Because at this point in the lore, everybody's on good terms, or at least better terms than what happened when they bombed Theramore and stuff. Take Admiral Proudmoore's orders to Garthok and Razor Hill. So when it says Admiral Proudmoore, it's obvious. Oh, fuck. It's obviously not. Wait. Why would an inventory be full? Oh, it's like opening the letter and putting something there. I'm getting too distracted. Don't read quest text during combat. That sprint animation always makes me nervous because they always, like the boars, they do extra damage when they're charging in like that. It's almost like that should be an ability that warriors got, but their charge just, you know, just stuns you, but it doesn't do that. Like where their first hit will be a crit every time, or it'll do an insane amount of damage. I'm getting kind of too lax, and I don't even have my pet to lean on, so maybe not the best idea. I find this ability actually pretty good, though, if you compare it to like Heroic Strike or something. In fact, it's kind of bad. No, it's not better, but it just feels like at this low level, it's not a bad comparison. The problem is you're not going to get anything else for a while. Although I guess if you are a warrior, I kind of just realized that you might think, oh, warriors are going to have way more abilities than you as a hunter, right? Melee hunter. But the reality is, look at that crit too. Fuck off, dude. This is what I don't like about respawns. I can use the other potion if I really have to. Loot during combat, also one of my sins. 7 deadly sins. Reading flavor text during combat. Looting during combat. Just kind of dicking around and not paying attention. Probably turn on floating combat text again, though. I don't know why it went away. Or yeah, doing your option menu during combat. Let's display all the sins. So it didn't save this, I guess. But yeah, if you think about it with a warrior, like a lot of what you get, hamstring or rend is trash, hamstring is situational. A lot of your abilities aren't really repeatable DPS 1. Slam. Nobody's going to be using slam just like willy-nilly. The rule should always be that you have one potion available at all times. I find this kind of immersion breaking. I kind of just only wanted to see the parry. See, dodge, parry. We are a legitimate tank, dude. We don't need the pet to do it. And like I said, my playstyle is not going to be where we rely on the pet to do it. So the one cushion we have here is that we're a little higher level. Now, I think that's fair because on one hand, I didn't do it on purpose, right? I'm just doing all the quests and just exploring, so it happened organically. Number 2 is there's no rule against that anyway. Like, you can overlevel if you want. And even I always have the rule of 2. I guess we're stretching that more now to the rule of 4. But also, we don't have a pet and we don't have range, so it makes it seem very fair to me. And some of this stuff isn't even giving us experience. The problem is the pet would fall super far behind now, but I can always tame a higher level pet. That's actually the closest I came to dying, was almost by design, to sort of show the bond between our pet and ourselves, was that I was willing to almost die for it. I was like, I could interrupt this, I could try another one. He was getting me pretty low, but I was like, you know what, dude? This is what you have to show, the respect for your pet. That I'm putting my life in your hands from the beginning. I know you won't kill me, I know you'll come around. Just like I know you'll save me countless times throughout the run. It's kind of a good, tender RP moment. This is how I do RP now. I'm not as, like, serious about it, but it kind of comes into my playthroughs eventually. It happened very nicely in Dark Souls 2 because of how insane that game can be at times. Or you know what also should be a rule? Oh, this should be... I don't know how I'd even keep track of that. You shouldn't be able to do the same mining node. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, dude. I need like an add-on to track that. You can't do the same mining node more than once. That would encourage explore. Oh, wow. What kind of fucking formats do I come up with, dude? That's brilliant. So I would have to remember. Good thing I have it on video. You can't do the Terror Guard keep one by the... Oh, that's going to be impossible to keep track of. I will try to do that, though, because what that does is there's still going to be enough resources in the world, obviously, to do everything you need to do, but it'll prevent you from being able to have infinite resources or get them too easily, where you can just stay in the same place and farm. Now, how many mining nodes must there be in the entire Duratar? Obviously, so that will restrict me. There'll be a finite number of bombs and stuff that I can ever have. I think that's a good rule. So those are the 2 rules, basically, I introduced today. I can't track mines. I can only track stuff in town when I decide as a hunter, like where I'm going, what would be the best choice. I can't change it during combat. I can't craft stuff during combat, like first aid or this. I have to have it ready in my bag, like my little belt. And then finally, we have one more thing, which is you can't do the same mining node twice. Now, that doesn't apply to fishing, I guess, because you could say you have to fish in a different body of water every time, but basically I'm trying to discourage infinite mechanics. Not that I'm the type to do that anyway, but just in a pure sense. Like, you could just fish for like 10 hours and just get as much money as you want and then use that money to buy, you know, whatever from shops that would make the experience easier for you. So that is a little bit not cool. I have a little bit too much linen cloth even. We killed Benedict. The letter wasn't part of the quest. I want to do encroachment, but I just don't have room in my bags. And unfortunately, even though the quillbores might drop bags too, it's a case where you're not really going to be able to do anything when it comes to... Like, I don't even have room for anything. Board conscription resignation. I almost think of this is a guild charter. He's asking me to get people to sign this. Looks good to me. Did I even read this? Board conscription registration. This person has demonstrated incredible feats of strength, but those aren't even in the game yet. Those came along with expansions, and as always, people always used to call me, you were an achievement hunter before achievements even existed, because I would totally do those things. I have to fill out every area of the map, not because you get an achievement for it, just because I want to do that anyway. Completionist, the same way that I did hardcore playthroughs before the hardcore add-on even existed, or before I even knew about it, because, you know, you can just do that. I'm a little bit annoyed I gave up my potion, though, for nothing. I'll try to mentally keep track of that, but it's going to be hard. Like, what places I've been to. Oh, he says something different. I know a few things you want me to show you. So he's showing us more respect because we actually learned his craft. Take some interest. I just don't really associate something like engineering with the Horde or with orcs. Right? Like, that almost seems out of place. Orcs are portrayed as stupid, and I know it's not that simple, but it should almost be like an undead, or like maybe a Tauren, or trolls and orcs I don't really think of as being the engineering type. So this guy must be a celebrity. It's kind of bad symbolism. He should be on the high ground getting the respect, and this guy's like, oh, you're just a dinky miner who goes around, you know, cracking nodes all day. You don't deserve respect. He's the one who gets the resources, but then the man with the real, you know, the real talent has to do something with them. So I don't know what's going to happen here, because I'm not going to have room for it. This is too bad. I just don't have space. I guess the water is negligible. I trained in past hunters. Yeah, we've seen... Or no, wait. Must be the guy up here. Vanquish the betrayers. Encroachment. There's no time for talk. Words of your bravery travels fast, hunter. Oh, thankfully, he doesn't give me an item. The one time I'd actually appreciate that. So the rare spawn didn't give me a green. It just gave me like some kind of shitty... thing that was slightly better than mine. It wasn't the cave, though. Wasn't that the commander? Or no, maybe that's what he gave me the second time. What did he give me the first time? And I guess we won't have too many options to use a different shirt, so I kind of have to. I want to see where they kind of turn around and go back to their idle animation, because I talked so long over the text here. Words of your bravery travels fast. Tales of your victory at Tirgard Keep will be heralded in Orgrimmar. From the... Oh, here we go. Now we have to go to the water. One of my most observant scouts brings word back that the wreckage of Proudmoore's fleet still remains off the coast of Duratar, just east of Tirgard Keep. It is the wreckage of Proudmoore's fleet. It is no secret that the humans in the alliance with those foul little creatures known as gnomes. Oh, see, they're even acknowledging that. Like, they can do this sexy thing called engineering that we can only dream of. Meanwhile, this guy's just sitting there like eyeball, mouth, eyeball emoji moment. It is no secret that the gnomes are foul creatures. We have an advanced knowledge of mechanics. We must have a complete understanding of all our potential enemies, and our people will benefit from this new knowledge as well. Well, you're not really explaining why that has to do with the boats. You just mentioned that offhand. Swim through the wreckage and retrieve the tools of the Alliance. Oh, I guess just the fact that they made the tools. I guess you don't know that for sure. Like what? Anything technical to do with the Alliance, it must have been the gnomes. It could be the goblins they bought it from. Like the Zeppelins are from them. Garthok of Razorhill wants you to join to retrieve the 3 gnomish tools from the wreckage off the coast. And I don't have room for them, so I guess I can sell the water. Like, we need this, or just for the sake of the food buff aspect. I don't know how much of that I'm going to come across. Some of these things I just can't get rid of. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm not going to give up anything that I could potentially use later. Even just for the RP of it, I want to have all these things in my arsenal. I think I just repaired 5 silver leaf. I'm not really sure how I'm going to use that one. We could sell this, and I could sell maybe the water. I don't really feel like I need it. Give it back to the town, like how we were a food delivery person for the... We were a food delivery guy for the one thing. The Admiral's orders. You open the aged and weathered envelope and discover an official-looking document. You recognize the seal of Admiral Proudmoore. This looks important, Garthok. Oh, I already read this. But of course, it only takes up 1 space still. But yeah, let's actually see what it says. Read it like a full book, like in Skyrim, but I guess it's not that big. We kind of break from ranks a little bit. We hide behind here. He'll never notice us doing this. We actually read it, even though we shouldn't do that, right? We're not allowed to. He kind of maybe gets a glance as we're doing this and turns around, and then we'll have a bit of animosity going on later. Official orders for the Kulturas fleet. I, Admiral Proudmoore, shall lead the first landing upon the shores of Kalimdor. Lieutenant Benedict will be second in command in my absence. Really, a level 8 random dinky non-elite guy who's even weaker than his little rare spawn there. I forget his name. I don't remember that guy at all, actually. Although I probably only did this like once. All domestic. I just remember thinking it was really badass. Like the first time I got into Terragard Keep as my orc, probably, it was just like that badass music starts playing, and then, you know, it just felt like a really cool first experience with sort of a mini dungeon single player type of experience. Second in command in my absence. All domestic Kulturas military matters will be handled by him. If I do not send word from Terragard Keep within 12 months' time, Benedict will lead the second wave to hold the location. But at some point he must call it off. Meanwhile, I'm sending Lieutenant Alvarald on an exploratory mission around the continent of Kalimdor. His forces are to complete their mission and then join our forces at Terragard Keep. Oh, they were really putting all their eggs in one basket with it, too. It was supposed to be their main landing point. It's anticipated that the lieutenant... So at this point, like, Kulturas was said to be lost or something, right? Like, nobody knew where they were or what happened to the whole thing. And I remember some Alliance quest texts that said that. That's why they kind of leave it hanging, and then you finally discover them at in BFA, or it takes a very long time. There's a lot of these hanging threads that they leave loose, right? Like, what is the Maelstrom about? What about the Zandalar Empire? What about, you know, there's empty space on the map somewhere, you know? Or wait, I thought that was more conspicuous. That, oh yeah, like even here there's empty space. There's all kinds of little shit. Hyjal is there, but you can't go to Hyjal. What else? There's the Silver Moon. So like they at least thought ahead enough. Like this was in the game in Classic. It's not like they somehow retconned or added it here. So I love that they did that. You could say it's unfinished content, but it's not like the game was lacking in content in the first place. What else does he say? Anticipated that Alvaral's mission will last quite some time. The new land seems vast and dangerous, so it's almost like they don't even know the trolls are here. But should any misfortune befall myself or Benedict, Alvaral's troops will retake the keep. We will send wave after wave until the stronghold is ours, Admiral Proudmoore. But now this could be an old thing. So I guess I was wrong. I thought it would be something showing him in a positive way, like call off the attack. We called a truce. Jaina and Thrall are little butt buddies. Everything's okay. But instead, he's just doubling down.
What do you need?
So we get this one. There's a look of concern on your face, Hunter. What have you there? This does not bode well at all. You were wise to bring this information to my attention. but I totally didn't read it. But then how would I know, I guess? Humans cannot be trusted. We fought alongside them with a weary heart, knowing they would betray us one day. Admiral Proud... So, they did make the first strike, I guess, in doing this. Admiral Proudmoore's death was not enough to stop his legacy of deceit. The human scum had his plans laid out well before he even met his demise. His reign won't die even with Benedict, it seems. Yeah, and guess what you did for... Guess what you got for trusting in Jaina, too. She fucking massacres and commits genocide in Dalaran on the fucking Blood Elves. His reign won't even die with Benedict, who had nothing to do, like, with the Theramore bombing, right? Because it was the orcs who did it. I mean, it's still the Horde, but yeah, attacked their newest member. He won't even die with Benedict, it seems. Who knows how long it will be before the next waves of Proudmoore's men land upon our shores. They're introducing it like an ongoing enemy quest type, but I don't remember really. Where else do you fight anything like that? Marines, maybe Dustwall and Marsh a little bit or something. Which is of course where Jaina's home base is. Yeah, that was kind of a unique NPC interaction, wasn't it? And wasn't she in Elwyn Forest too briefly? How does that work? Wasn't she in a tower in Elwyn Forest and you talked to her there, and then, I mean, I'm the Alliance player, I should know. But no, there's this whole thing in Dustwall and Marsh, like she's there and she's an elite skull enemy or something, right? So where is that for the Horde? Like, does the Horde... Oh, the Horde has Rexar. I wonder if you actually should equate them like that. So each alliance, each faction has one sort of boss-type NPC who just kind of is in a random place in the world that isn't in a major city, like, you know, one of the three. So Proudmoore and Rexar are kind of... So who would win that fight, I wonder? I feel like Jaina is much more powerful, actually, but maybe I'm sleeping on Rexar a little bit, even though I'm playing as a hunter. Here we go. This is the one downside, but it's okay. His reign won't end even with Benedict. So who is this Alvarald guy? I forgot. We need to get the orders to Nazgrel in Orgrimmar immediately. He can be found in Thrall's chamber. Yeah, we're not going to go there if we won't go there to save our pet. So I won't count that as dying, though. That's the equivalent of dismissing him, right? That's not fair to say he died. Because it's not even my fault. I mean, it is because of how slow paced I'm doing this, but I love that. That's like kind of karma for my style of play. You want to just stick around and get immersed and take your time, but then you lose your pet. Deliver the orders to Nazgrel and Thrall's chamber. These are giving me kind of better money value. I have enough to buy this. We don't need Aspect of the Hawk. Forget about it, forget about it, forget about it. The only thing we want is survival. Very fitting. Was there something else I wanted to buy? I almost want to buy like a bag from the shop. So we'll go do the gnomish tool stuff. I don't mind not looting stuff. I'll just loot whatever is really valuable here. Oh, this music's a little bit different. Track humanoids. Show the location of all nearby humanoids on the minimap. Only one form of tracking can be activated at a time. I do kind of like this. So now we're thinking, okay, let's test out our new tracking ability. So we're in town so we can change it, but then we won't be able to until we come back. So that is actually a key thing. You go here. I always thought the casting animations, though, don't fit as well with the hunter. It's almost like they could have done different ones from a, you know, whatever class you would be, just doesn't match as well. Imagine playing a troll, though. It was the class that or the race I always made fun of. That's almost why I'm doing it. They just look kind of silly. Nobody really likes them. They're kind of the welfare class, like the gnomes of the Alliance, which nobody likes them either, really. You don't even get your own zone. Although you get something even the gnomes don't get, which is Sen'jin Village, right? There isn't really something quite as equivalent to that, or at least it's not as close to the... You know, there's some straggling gnome NPCs around Dun Moreau, but it's not the same thing. Okay, so we get the humanoid thing, which really there'll only be the Makruras around there, so it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, we'll definitely get to level 12 at least, but this is going to be a little bit more long-winded than I thought. So it's not only that I'm doing survival, it's that I can only do survival, so I won't even go out of the tree. We'll completely neglect Beast Mastery. And again, I'm not going to use my pet as a tank to the extent that I can prevent it. I mean, if he just pulls aggro, what can I do? But that's why I almost want a range pet. It'll be a melee-only hunter, but it won't be a melee-only pet, so you can still have like one of those things from the Barrens that shoots acid or whatever, or the ones from Wailing Caverns. I'll have to do Wailing Caverns at level 40 and then power level the guy up. I don't know whether that sort of thing should even be allowed. I never disallowed myself from doing dungeons, but I just didn't really ever make use of them either. I wish I had a way to like, there's all these things that maybe I would even want add-ons for, but I just don't like to use add-ons. Like to track which mines have I been to, as if anybody would even keep track of such a thing. So I know never to go back to them again. And I do have to pay attention, right, in keeping with my exploratory nature to be able to see where the mining nodes are, because I won't be able to use my tracking for that part of the RP element. And then the other thing is I would want to keep track of the idea that I kind of forgot. Keep track of the, like the number of parries, just to, I mean, it is 10%. So we mitigated 2 things in a row. 3, look at that. That is actually satisfying. Definitely not living down my experience as a mage being so squishy. Of course, it's a fair trade-off, like the glass cannon thing. In fact, that's what I liked about it. Then that's what, over time, people have said, like, now everybody has everything because you don't need to, you know, everybody has a heal. Everybody has some kind of a answer. Mages didn't have any healing and you had to deal with it, but it was a fair trade-off because you could do crazy shit. Palm Pyro, so much CC, Gnomish Toolbox, of course. You just know that by sight, even though he's acting so bewildered, like, oh, those blasted... He doesn't even know what's here for sure. Just that the Proudmoore fleet left over their scraps. Nobody bothered to clean this shit up in all that time, and they never will. This will still be here in the Cataclysm. This will still be here in fucking the current expansion. What do we got? Who is like the strongest vanilla leader? Brawl definitely is badass. In fact, I'll even take Archimonde's word for it. That guy actually hurt me. Wow. He was actually surprised, and he doesn't say that about anybody else. Even though Malfurion does his stupid wisp thing. Or yeah, this is almost how I do it too. If there's multiple quest items and there's different structures like this, you should have to get 1 per each one. You shouldn't be able to, even with my tracking, he sneaks up on me like that. You shouldn't be able to get them in different ones. Like, for example, or in the same one. Like, I get all 3 there, just to force me to explore and go about more. So I'll try not to do as much exploration outside of doing quests, because most of the places the quests are going to send you to anyway. Okay, we get a potion back, which is very handy. There's no rule even against farming for stuff, because it's kind of subjective, right? I could just be exploring an area. Like, I want to go to Tourist Fallen Glades. Even though I'm over-leveled for it, I wouldn't be doing it to level or to do anything. Just, I haven't really explored it maybe in great detail. Or I could save that, like I said, for another character, but I kind of want this to be a very definitive Horde experience. Like, this might be the only... Well, I don't know. Or I could do 1 playthrough as each different race. That would be kind of good. But you'd have to kind of manage the classes correctly to allow for that. So, for example, Tauren Druid would be essential. You don't have a choice because there's no other Druid, you know, class. Or, I mean, race. And then you could do, like, Orc Shaman. And then you could do... I'm just trying to think all the classes I haven't played. Orc Shaman, Tauren Druid, and then... Undead Warlock. That'd be perfect, right? Because these are all the classes I haven't played. And then the only last one would be Paladin, which obviously you'd have to do on Alliance anyway. I could do a Dwarf. It's funny how much I played on the Alliance, but I never actually played as pretty much anything but a human. Night Elves I neglected. Gnomes I didn't care about. I think I might have done a little bit of a alt on a Dwarf, but nothing like high level. It's actually surprising how few characters I got to max level. I got a mage to max level in vanilla only. I got nothing to max level in BC besides a mage again. And then in Wrath, I made a warrior, and that became sort of my main. And then somehow I got a Death Knight to level 82, but I guess, you know, just to try it. I didn't really do a whole lot. So you had Death Knight, warrior, and mage, and that was pretty much it. And then I stopped playing right around Cataclysm, and then I came back for like, you know, 1 week or something just to get to 85 on my mage, and then I just stopped playing. I won't even say it was bad or that I didn't enjoy it, right? I'm not one of those false duality people like, oh, I stopped doing it, so therefore it sucks. I do think the premise of Mists of Pandaria sucks, but, you know, I'm one of the few people who actually like the idea of Cataclysm, though. It's a cool way to sort of justify the... People say, oh, you should have kept the old zones, but you had those zones for 3 expansions. So I like the fact that it was a good excuse to sort of revamp the old zones in the world and make them feel fresh for people who had been playing the game for so long even. I think it was a good idea. Now, maybe the implementation wasn't the best, but there are some kind of good poetic aspects to it. Like, for example, you know, Desolate goes from a shitty place that's very desolate and, you know, barren to something very lively like a, you know, grassland, and then vice versa. Elwyn Forest could become a swamp or something. Not that It does, obviously. I don't think they fucked with the starting zones too much. I'm kind of playing it dangerously with not trying to fight stuff. I normally like to find my way through to make sure stuff doesn't aggro around me. The Admiral orders an Orgrimmar. This one's an Orgrimmar too. And for some reason, I thought there was more stuff here. We'll do Encroachment and we'll do the Fizzle Darkclaw one. This is fine. That's pretty much it. And then it's sending me to the Barrens already, which I don't know whether that it would give you that no matter what, or just because I'm such a high level that they thought it would be appropriate. Even the game is telling me, yes, you're over leveled. Just get the fuck out of here and stop stalling. So it's kind of a sad day. We lost our pet, but not to any fault of my own, although it kind of is, but it's, you know, this is kind of the pace it has to be. It should be a big event getting to Orgrimmar. It's not like I'm just in a rush to get there. And then I'll spend quite a while there, so maybe even next time I still won't. But I guess there's not a whole lot else to do here. I won't even bother taming a pet again until I do that, because the same thing's just gonna happen again. Or I guess I could get it on the way in, but no, because I'm gonna dick around and spend so much time there. So our reach exceeded our grasp as a hunter. We didn't deserve the pet that we thought we wanted so badly. It didn't need us as much as we needed it, maybe. From the wreckage, once we learn how humans operate, or you should say how gnomes operate, their strange machinery, will stand a greater chance of defeating them in future battles. With our new gained knowledge, the Horde only stands to grow in strength. Your recovery mission was a success, Hunter. I will see to it that these tools get to Orgrimmar in the next caravan. 10 armor, 20 armor is an upgrade. Otherwise, just take whatever is going to sell for the most, which is obviously mail and stuff. It is kind of teasing me already. Don't you wish you could wear mail armor one day? Which is kind of awesome that you can. Oh, look at this. Somebody who's actually played the game the speedrunner's way. Not that, again, people always pose that as you must hate that. You must say you shouldn't do that. You absolutely should do it. You should do everything, but there was something wrong, I feel like, with the approach. I'm not going to keep rehashing the fucking point, but people get it. Just because it got so much attention, I guess it's worth talking about. The only thing left to do here is the Quillboars. Everything else is sending me to Orgrimmar or to the goddamn Barrens. Yeah, I like how I didn't even know Wailing Caverns existed for a while. Like, I even did that. My first dungeon was SFK as a Horde. And then as Alliance, it was like, obviously, Dead Mines. And Wailing Caverns was just kind of out of the way and weird. And nobody cared about it. And it was kind of awkwardly designed. Kind of too complex. Where you go in all these different weird directions. It was just unnecessarily complicated. But yeah, there is some kind of charting and stupid stuff too. Imagine that. You didn't need that when vanilla actually came out originally, but now you do. Just because they're too lazy. See, Dynamic Mine. So just remember, keep the list going. Quillboar Camp and Terrorguard Keep. Although there might be multiple here, so it's hard to say. He's also rubbing the ability to shoot the bow in my face. I don't like how far off the hitboxes actually are, though. Like, I almost like to get closer, although it's strategically suboptimal and you shouldn't do that. Get that close to an enemy, but it's funny how backpedaling actually kind of helped me a lot, though, because sometimes you don't want to. It goes against the instinct. Like the enemy, let's say the mine is the enemy, right? Okay, so if it was a player, you'd go through them. Oh, you can't even do that. You would go through them like with the mouse control. But if you're doing it with an enemy and there's kind of shit all around you or whatever, it's okay to do that because you conserve the least amount of space and you never turn your back to them and you never cross their body, so you can never like get dazed or something. There were some times where it was actually objectively quite good. It's just not the same as, you know, other conditions. Like, okay, in a raid you shouldn't do it, in PvP you shouldn't do it. And I always find that funny too. It's like, if it causes me to fail what I'm trying to do, then you can make fun of it. But if I still do what I'm trying to do, not even that I'm saying it's not hard, although I'm probably still doing way more formats in this than other people would. Some of them are just for fun and immersion sake. Like, it's not even making it harder as far as the mining aspect. You know, they're already locked in combat, so this ruins the experience because, oh look, they're doing a hardcore thing too. Let them die. Let them die. What a clown. Well, imagine letting yourself get that low. Yeah, let's see somebody's hardcore run end. This is what you get for playing on a dead server. Why is it called a dead server? Because you're fucking dead. You got away somehow. Not even that I'm rooting for it, but it just ruins my whole thing. I have to fight through the Quillboar camp myself. Not even because you're kill stealing them. That's kind of a reminder in terms of like what not to do. Would you get out of here, dude? You have the balls to do that when you're, what is it, a bot? The same thing's gonna happen. You're almost dead. I'm not gonna help you. You're so stupid. You didn't even let your health come back, and you're backpedaling like a clown too, as I was just saying. What are you trying to do? It's totally a bot. What is this behavior? You just die. Put you out of your misery. What is this? You don't care or what? I'm not gonna help you, but this is interesting to witness. There's no way this is a hardcore character. Why would you play like this? You're a troll, not a clown, dude. That is like one of my favorite terms in these last couple years of streaming. I always call everybody a clown. I call myself a clown a lot, like in chess. Get out of here and don't come back, dude, please. Got a line of sight a little bit, or at least out of range. Oh, here we go, dude. There's not enough Quillboar to go around. This is a bad place to fight it too. You should pull it back further, but it just, man, I guess you can't complain. Oh, look, we're getting the parrier gets parried. How fitting. Haven't parried this much since Dark Souls, although I never really did it there anyway. Even on my shield character, it was easier just to block. You better not help me. If people help me later, I can use Feign Death to get out of the experience to make it seem like, you know, more organic. Now, there's multiple people here. I just can't deal with this, man. I don't want it to be like this. Fuck you. Maybe I should go do something else. I want it to feel like you're going through there once yourself normally. Like the Centaur camp we had to fight through. We had to kill every single one. Not because I had to for the quest. I didn't have to kill any for the quest. Actually, that's one of those weird ones. You just like destroy their battle plans. But the reason why you have to do it is because, you know, if you don't, then they'll aggro all at once or on the way. So you have to fight your way through it organically, which I can't do here. And I might be waiting here forever. So this is starting to get a little bit annoying. Maybe I chose the wrong server. I even double checked it. Like I made a character in January on one server, and that seemed like it had too many people, and so I left. I moved to this one that seemed more dead, old Blanche or whatever. I shouldn't even say that, otherwise people will snipe me and try to do whatever. Yeah, we got this mine. We got the one behind Tiergard Keep. We could get a couple more in the process. Like, it would make more sense if we went in a systematic way, like in order, but it's gonna be hard to keep track of. Yeah, that is almost a good thing. You have all the resources to yourself, because that is a ridiculous level of commitment, though, to actually do that. As far as I'm, you know, willing to commit, I am saying that I'm going to do it like that, but you can do the same thing for herbs. You can only get each spawn of her herb once, like in a particular location. Because they will be fixed spawn points. Or you can do it just like by general area. Like one in the Quillboar camp is sufficient. And then, you know, one in Tiergard Keep is sufficient. Even if there are other ones. I guess maybe it vacillates between a few different spawn points. Not exactly the same one. This can potentially get you in trouble if you take some fall damage. In fact, I am a little bit worried about that. But this isn't Far Cry 3. Where falling off like a little bump like that could get you killed. It'll go from like here to here, does like 0 damage, and then like 1 inch higher will kill you. It's so stupid. I don't know if it's like that in the other Far Cry games. It's a far cry from how fall damage normally works. Okay, here we go. Mine here. This one is sort of across from Tiergard Keep. I really wish I had a more organic way to keep track of it, but I guess I won't be dicking around the same areas for too long, even though that's exactly what I've done so far. I mean, once you do the quest, why would I really need to come back here? So it'll really discourage farming, or almost prevent it. And it also makes your resources more meaningful. Like, you can't just spam bombs every fight. Although I almost wanted to be able to do that, but, you know, it should be a key button in my rotation, but I'll only use it if I really have to. So I'm kind of jack of all trades, master of none. We have a pet, but it's not going to be at our level all the time. It's not going to be, we're not going to have beast mastery. We're going to be an engineer, but we're not always going to have the resources for it. And even when we do, there's only going to be a finite number that we can possibly get. And then we can use hunter abilities, but we're survival, so we can't use We can't use a bow, so we're very limited in every area. The pet is going to be okay, but not great. Our melee is okay, but not, you know, it's still melee. And then profession, I'm not sure exactly how good that's going to be. Hopefully they're gone. You don't actually have to kill that many of these, but... Oh yeah, that's what it encourages these MMOs to do too. They'll just up the spawn rates. Like, oh, well, people are competing over resources. But rather than that being part of the intended design, they will actually just make it respawn to the point where it doesn't matter, or they'll put you in like a custom shard or an instant zone or something stupid like that. Let's there's actually more Quillbore out to the left side here, behind it. Not that that's really pertinent right now. In fact, that might be what the next quest does. Like, oh, we discovered more Quillbore while you were gone, and this level 32 guard is too fucking lazy to kill them himself, so we have to go do it. It's just a dishonorable kill, I guess. They apply that even to PvE. I can't kill Greys, even though I've already done that numerous times. That can almost be a rule, too. You're not allowed to fight Greys so that you can't farm for resources that way, but I'm not going to say that. In fact, sometimes we might have to fight Greys just because we're, you know, exploring an area or leveling our pet. Wait, this is another Cold War station, but then there's another one, I think, on that. Yeah, look at how many there are. These guys are pretty crafty. So this kind of counts as the same thing, right? Scout. Or I think these are only scouts. Cold War, 1 out of 4. I guess this is a good way to do it, too. But I kind of want to clear through that part. I guess that's why you can't complain. There's always something to do, even if it's not the exact quest you want to do at that time. I just like to go through it in kind of a very structured way, while still exploring at the same time. This gives us kind of a closer view of the Barrens, where that guy wants us to turn in a quest, but I'm not going to do that. No obligation to try to show off in that regard, like, oh, you have to up your leveling zone just because you're such a high level. It does seem kind of like a pussy way to play, but I'm not really doing it on purpose. And I think it'll catch up with me eventually because, you know, it starts to take such a ridiculous amount of time to level later that you're not always going to be overleveled like this. And in fact, even... I'm not even getting rested experience, so that makes it even more fair. I am, just because, you know, you get it no matter where you are, but you should kind of account for them running away when they're on low health a little better than what I'm doing. You know, once the scouts are dead, I shouldn't be allowed to kill any more scouts, but you kind of have to. Right? I'm trying to discourage farming and stuff, but you really can't. The battle guards and stuff will be in some of these other bases, but I almost want to clear out all of them. Oh, here we go, dude. That's the ability that fucked me over so much last time. Not exactly the same with the thorns, but it's with respect to the lightning shield from the hex trolls on the Echo Isles. Defies pillager equivalent for the horde, although not exactly as bad, but yeah, if you compare the damage value off that, it's kind of hilarious. It's like you have a situation where it should almost let you eat or use the item off his dead body. So I don't want to loot it, but I don't want to destroy something, but I just want to still consume it on the spot. You're eating it out of his bag instead of your bag. Why should that matter? Like how, what do you call it? You can basically, I forgot. Oh, like the hex trolls. Yeah, the Defiance Pillagers do like 70 plus damage from their fireballs. Compare that to like level 50 enemies, which only do like 100 something at times. So that shows you the damage scaling is completely jacked out. You might think, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but just compared to what they do, literally stuff outside Skullomance hits you for like, you know, 100, 200, and you might think, oh, it's because of your character being a higher level and more resistant. But I think the base values are really just that low. So either they don't do enough, or the Defiance Pillagers just do too much. And who said this game wasn't hardcore, you know, inherently? I'm getting way too lax, just because I'm too high of a level, I guess, but... Look at that guy trying to snipe me across the map, though. Good dedication. It takes more to make a hunter than a goddamn dinky crossbow like that. Although this could be one instance where you get to show off the bow-on-bow action, where they won't come in close and you don't have to be level 10 to actually enjoy it. Because most enemies you only get like 2 to 3 shots on. I do like the number of potions they're giving me. There's one other thing I wish I could get, though, and that would be a bag which you'd think these would drop them as well. Not like just the... That almost sounds like it could pass off as an orc sound when they're first aggro. Okay, they don't do very much. In fact, they do seemingly more, even with the melee than that. That's not the point of being a goddamn hunter. Yeah, 10 versus that. Yeah, the parries are the only satisfying part of combat, really, and I can't wait till I get that ability. Because even if we can use it a couple times a fight, that's fine. And it encourages me to actually tank for my pet, so it's kind of the roles are reversed. Right, normally you would hide behind your pet like a pussy, but instead now, it hides behind you. And it'll snipe from a distance, and I won't. It'll be the ultimate inversion of the class. My pet will be this wyvern thing, the little dinky whatever from Wailing Caverns. It shoots, spit stuff out. And I'll be the tank. And I'll be doing less damage than it. So it'll be completely like they're the hunter and I'm the fucking... just a clown pet. But then I still have to feed them. I'm not the one who's getting upset and abandoning them. So for now, the mitigation is there just for the sake of it. But pretty soon... Look at that, 4 damage. Why am I hitting 4 damage? That one random hit. Some of my crits have been pretty nasty too, like 43 plus and stuff. There's no chest here or anything. We cleared out this camp. This is kind of like a completionist run. You're doing it just for the sake of it, not because you even have to, and not because I want a power level either, I swear. You need 4 dust runners and 4 battle guards, which I think are definitely in the one behind here. I guess these two are at least connected, but it's amazing how many of these Cold War camps they have. I don't even know what else is on this side of Durotar. Do we actually get that as a stack? That's very handy. Yeah, like what is in this area? Maybe some of those orange raptors that I was thinking about that I feel like was the one I had on my original hunter, which I was trying to get that sort of as a kindred spirits connection. And that's why we let the red one dismiss on its own, of course. Wow, dude. The Quillbore, there are more Quillbore in Durotar than there are orcs, I swear to God, if you don't count Orgrimmar. There's the one camp behind there, there's this one, and then there's one over there at least. That's actually insane. Scout, I could clear out this camp too, I guess. Let's see if there's a chest or something. Not that I barely have room for this anyway. And you might think, oh, he'll send you here on... Oh, I guess these still aren't the orange ones. You might think, oh, he'll send you here on a different quest. But not if it's the same enemy types. Do I even bother doing this? I guess it doesn't matter. I'm getting way too cocky now, even though I am like double their level. But I guess the trade-off is you're getting less experience, so what does it matter? You're still putting yourself at risk too, so if I die to some dumb shit like this, I guess I deserve it. Or the most annoying enemies will be the ones that can heal because they'll just keep doing it, which the hex trolls can also do. Love that troll line. Stay away from the voodoo, says somebody with a voodoo mask and casting witch doctor magic. And then they tell you, don't stay away from the voodoo, go and kill them, the stupid hex trolls and stuff. I find it hilarious how long it takes for the factions to actually get their shit together with taking those places back, too. What is this? Oh, shit, I wasn't expecting there to be an enemy in there. What else would be there, though? Or they always have, like, these little water things that you can pick up. Like a barrel of water. But that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to resources. It's going to be garbage. Is that better than ours? 20 versus 20. I guess I'll get it for the appearance, even though it brings down my gear score potentially. Although I don't have room for it. Which one actually looks better? Or we'd want to turn it into like a completionist thing where... Actually, mine looks better. Where I'd want to collect like one of every item in the game. At least the ones that I can wear. But like, what's the point when you can't really... And that's the kind of thing I do in a single player game, although not really even. I guess if you have infinite space, then yes, but even between the bank slots, you're just not going to have that. I can keep like different sets of gear, maybe like keep a stamina set based on obviously what little greens and stuff we get offered from random drops or from quest rewards. I could keep one with extra stamina, one with extra agility. Agility is not even going to do as much for us as you might think. Just by the simple fact that, you know, with both melee and range, it's fine, but Improved critical chance strike. I wish it gave you increased parry chance too, because that's totally what our build is all about. Surprisingly. I wasn't, those are two things I wasn't planning to do when I first started this character, which wasn't this character anyway. I had to make another one because everybody wants me to use the mod, and I didn't want to invalidate it. Like, oh, you started as level 6, so the mod doesn't track the fact that you did it from level 1 to 6 or whatever, as if I would have died there anyway. Okay, we got a out of range this guy. Not really a good way to line of sight him. I like how little their bows do though. It defeats the whole purpose. Like, I wonder how much would my bow be doing now compared to my... Or it might not even be doing that much more. This is an item we got even in Senjin Village, so it's way past the point of where it should be relevant. It's kind of like our bow might do the same amount of damage for now as even our one-handed dinky thing, but just all the abilities you can do because of it is what really matters. So we gotta be lonely for now. Mourn over a loss of our pet, even though we don't really deserve full blame for that, only partial blame. We can clear out this little camp, taking out our frustration on them, although it was really nobody's fault. When did he even leave me? Like in Terragard Keep. You can blame the humans for it. Correlation is not causation. He didn't leave because of them. That guy was being pretty reasonable, though. He was still respecting Proudmoore's pact. And I'm sure Jaina still does. So somehow that'll be part of the quest chain. Like, oh, we reached out to Jaina and she said everything's okay. And Thrall takes her word for it. And doesn't get any blame or pushback when... Or I guess maybe he does. When she fucks over Dalaran. Like, all the lore I know after Wrath is pretty much just from... You know, little bits and pieces that I've heard or seen videos of or something. Okay, so this is at least a different mine than the other one on the other side, so we basically only gotten 3 mines, although it seems like more because of how much resource each one gives you. We did the one across from Terragard Keep, we did the one behind Terragard Keep, and we do this one. I guess I'm associating the one across from it with the Cold War camp on that side too, and there's another one here. It's gonna be very hard to keep track of what is what. In fact, I barely even have room. I guess I could give up like the Scorpion Stinger if I really have to. You're going to need some random light leather though for some engineering thing that I'm going to want. It's going to be some weird thing like how you need linen cloth. And I might not be able to get light leather any other way because I can't skin, I can't craft it, I can't do anything. The Malachite I'm pretty happy about too. That's going to be pretty important somehow. I might just get cucked somewhere along the line and I won't be able to do anything at all. Look at this badass NPC encounter, except it's not an NPC. Wait, where even is he? Like how that chick's imp bugged out in Terragard Keep, like it went on top of the side railing for no reason. One of these times I'm gonna get myself in trouble with falling off of something. We're not a mage and we don't have slow fall. That was always such a fun thing to do though, just like... Yeah, this part of the map I don't really understand. Let's actually explore the rest of it. Yeah, this is the Razor Hill episode. The next time can be the... Basically, the Orgrimmar episode, I guess, would be fitting. There might not be a whole lot else I can really do in Durotar. I think I've pretty much done everything. We did the Echo Isle, Senjin Village, obviously Valley of Trials. This is all connected to Razor Hill. There is still, like, some quests outside of Orgrimmar, like, with respect to... The levels here kind of fold on themselves a little bit. It's supposed to be going higher in this direction, but now these are higher than, like... I don't know, anything we've seen up to this point. And I, of course, lost to the map. Another one of the 7 deadly sins. I might have to use one of those abundant potions it gave us, or maybe not. That crit kind of saves me. I kind of was daydreaming about the pet that we lost, which is the same one. Although these ones maybe look bigger. I swear it was an orange one, so I don't know where you find those. It might be still closer to Orgrimmar, or... It could be somewhere else, too. It could be like a Baron's Raptor, but... Then it doesn't make as much sense because I wouldn't have gotten it that late. I feel like I only got one and I just kept it the whole time. And of course I never let it die because I would have done permadeath even back then, except not really at all. It's like making up for my Pokemon Y playthrough not being permadeath for the Pokemon. Now it's for both of us. Because that is also first playthrough permadeath, so it's kind of a risky venture. You never know, but it was a pretty easy game. The thing I came close to dying on was actually that dinky flying battle on the beach which you don't have to do it at that point. In fact, you don't have to do it at all. Almost lost the optional content because on top of a hard mode permadeath player, I'm also a completionist, so I won't ever use that as an excuse if I die. But wow, dude, look at the Quillboar presence. In fact, these are still giving me the same enemy types. I could do it here. So, but I still kind of want to do that other camp. You see, there's almost too much if you do everything. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's it. That's the one. I'm sure of it. Kind of a light tan orangish color. He's corrupted, but we uncorrupted him by taming him and treating him so well, clearly, which is what we're going to do again. But I'm not going to do it yet. Number one, because it's too high of a level and it'll probably kill me. But number two, what is that? Some kind of shaman-related thing? Not only because of that, but also because I won't be able to feed it. I guess we could bring it inside to Orgrimmar with us, but not really. I actually love that management, though, having to keep the pet happy and keep food on you. So these ones are at least better than the Razor Hill ones, too, because they're so much bigger. That one was like, or I mean, the Echo Isles. That was the same size as me. So I knew that wasn't the one that I really got. Yeah, who would want that one? It's so tiny and dinky. Now, I'm going to end up getting more Malachite than I can carry, which is a real deadly sin. You shouldn't let those go to waste. Or I'll just make more room for it. Now we can go up and down here and fight crocodiles for 10 levels, like it might be inclined to do. For whatever reason, I enjoy doing that. Might have been on my warrior even. I just went up and down the river in the hills, Brad. Some of these areas I would just sort of explore. So the two bodies of water here are pretty clearly defined. This one I don't even remember. What is that? There's like one behind Razor Hill. Now, these are pretty level appropriate, so I don't know if I should be taking a chance with this. Or like, aren't these level 10? Level 9? Yeah, at least we found the orange raptors, of which it's not like it's a rare spawn, but maybe there are not too many of them. So it all worked out for a reason. I even said I kind of wanted the same one. This is kind of breaking the rule of 2, but I am about to hit level 12. I'm surprised, in fact, that these aren't aggroing. The battle guards and the dust runners are here. Now, they're kind of too close to our level, so we can't pussy out anymore. Like, if we aggro 2, then we're screwed. Although they do drop potions at such a good rate that I don't mind. In fact, if it goes over the 5 quantity, I'll be tempted to use one just to not waste it. Now, here's where the running space gets really relevant. Although I did note last time that these hills can get you in trouble. Because what if there's a scorpion kind of dicking around somewhere there? You have to pull him this far away because it'll take me forever to kill him now because he has so much more health when he does run away. Or sometimes that can happen. Humanoids are always good, obviously, just for giving you money. Just don't do a lightning shield. That's the only thing that really scares me. Now, clearing this place out might be a little bit too much effort for what it's worth. Oh, there is a chest, though. That makes it worth it. Single player mini dungeon. Wait, elite? What do you mean elite? What was that? Jesus Christ, I'm gonna aggro an elite and get absolutely rolled over. There's no way I can fucking deal with that. But maybe we can sneak by him. This is how you get killed. At least if I had a pet, I could, you know, give it up to die. Although that's a big price to pay. You know, it's gonna get to the point where you let so many pets die, I guess if you're not me, that you'll actually, oh my god. I mean, we could try it, dude. This is the kind of stuff you shouldn't really do. In fact, fighting through this is gonna be a nightmare. There's so many of them. I kind of want to check out the other camp. I'm glad I saw that at least. It's not like he's gonna really tell you. Even if you saw Captain Flat Tusk, you wouldn't know offhand that it's an elite. There's another Quillboar thing here. Sometimes I'll show you the little thorns on the map, but I guess not for these. I mean, we do have to kill some of these anyway. So let's try to pull them farther away. Now we're in proper leveling zone territory, so pretty close to level 12. Gotta make sure some Scorpid or Raptor or some dumb shit doesn't aggro. We might be at the point where we almost have to use the racial every single fight, because not only am I using a dinky weapon, not only are we not really using a proper, you know, range thing, but they're also just level appropriate, so even then, it's going to take a little bit extra. I'm surprised, in fact, we're doing even this well. Like, isn't this weird? You shouldn't really be able to do this. people would complain even normally, like, oh wow, this takes too long, or that's why hunters are such a joke of a class. You're doing basically what a warrior could do anyway, but then you have the pet, then you have the bow, you have all these abilities. It's just objectively better. Isn't this more fun than spamming heroic strike? Because at least it has a cooldown, so it still feels slightly more interactive. Yes, that one just kind of overrides your next attack in a way. Okay, 2 out of 4. Plenty of this cloth. And why aren't they using these boars as pets? Which some of them might actually do that. Now his aggro range will be greatly increased too. I feel I can still go in there and nab the chest. But the problem is I won't even have room for stuff, so I'll have to decide then slowly, deliberately. That's how we dealt with Zalazane. We just kind of crept up behind him and stuck up. Yeah, druids were almost the class I felt most like intrigued by, which is why I went out of my way not to play it. I'm kind of weird like that. Like Breath of the Wild is probably such a good game, so I buy a Switch for it, and then I never play it. And to this day, I still haven't played it. Or like I played just the intro a little bit. Not because I didn't like it, but because I want to save it. I don't feel the need to just go through stuff as soon as it comes out. But now it has been a long time. Or I guess I just didn't have that much time, period. So I guess I got lucky. Because I didn't do it, now I could do my first experience on stream. And I could make it a first playthrough permadeath as well. Which for a game like that would be fucking devastating, because it's going to be like an open world exploratory type of thing. Everything has to be a hard mode for me now. Either it's a first playthrough permadeath, or it's you know, some kind of a way to restrict yourself. Imagine playing WoW for the first time like this. Not that you would have to, because there's already so many things you wouldn't know. But of course, I am a hardened, seasoned expert, of course. Armor reduced by 192. So you really shouldn't use... You shouldn't go into combat with this on you, obviously. I can't believe how many people are actually on this server, though. Okay, that's fine. Now, if this dude aggroes... Oh, you can't even see him from here. Sneaky, sneaky guy. If he aggroes, I'm basically just dead. He'll daze you. He'll do all kinds of shit. You won't be able to get away. But what you shouldn't do is don't stand there like a deer in the headlights if he aggroes. Trying to get a lead on him, like he won't be able to catch up for a while. This is the equivalent of Hogger over here, level 11 elite. Why didn't he get memed on as much as that? Nobody likes the Horde, I guess. Including myself. In a way, I kind of like them more, though. We're gonna die to this fucking thing of all things. At least this one doesn't make you take more damage. Like, in fact, it gets better the lower health you are, which you can kind of notice there. The Orc one makes you take more damage, actually. Which would make me more apprehensive to use it. Whereas here, I'm spamming the shit out of it. We fight this dude and we get the chest. He might have actually aggroed from inside of there, so I always forget that they can be inside of those structures. I don't know why I think they wouldn't be. He probably won't aggro, actually. He's a pretty far distance away. If he does, I'll just boot it. In fact, he might aggro with this guy. We can loot it from on top of here, so we're not a troll. We're actually a rogue. As circumstance necessitates. Oh, look at that. We're doing it from on top of this. Beautiful. I still kind of want to kill these two. Just clean what's on my plate. This feels honorable. Silver bar could be important. Now we're going to deliberate over this one. We could potentially get ourselves killed. Patrick armor, 1331. Don't need that. I do like this 100% fishing run where you have to fish in every body of water, and also 100% 100% chest run. We should try to look how tiny that shield looks compared to his body. What the fuck is that supposed to do for him? Isn't that comically small? It's not even like they're that big. They're just kind of wide. That's like if a Tauren was to use it, but it'd be even worse than... What the fuck? Cosmetic shield. Like the gargoyles in Dark Souls. Not only did they not ever use their shields, but they're so dinky and small that they wouldn't really do much even if they did try to. 4 out of 4, so we're actually done with that. Wait, I thought it was like some kind of leather armor that we just saw. Can't use swords. Or why did I even say like, oh, we're gonna use axes like that's a choice? That's really all you can use. I mean, look, dude. I'm not gonna dick around with that. You could always try it with your pet, but even then, I don't see the point. But see, I would do it just for the fuck of it. All right, we don't have to clear it out that thoroughly, but there's 2 other Cold War camps that I still want to look at. At least if they're different enemy names and enemy types, then I'll save it for later because the quest will probably tell me to come here. A lot of these haven't actually been chain quests the way that I would expect. Like Echo Isles, the first quest that tells you to go there, aside from the Duratar Tiger Fur, is like, go kill Zalazane. And, you know, normally it'd be kill the 8 Hex Trolls and the Voodoo Trolls, and then the next one you come back and then you kill Zalazane. So that's actually kind of progressive quest design already. The fact they don't make you come back and forth. It's the same thing for this. We already just killed all the Cold War, so what do we have to come back for? Even though there's so many different camps to go to. These are actually kind of interestingly done, where they don't make you go on a fetch quest too much or back and forth. I mean, we could replace that thing we just got, but over bar is probably pretty worth it. We'll need it for engineering. It's actually going to be comical how little of this I can do. I won't be able to do anything in engineering because it's all going to require stuff that I won't be able to get. Some of it you'll get from mining, but a lot of it you'll just be screwed. We kind of flirt with the border of the Barrens, but I'm not ready for that shit yet. Although arguably I could be, but I mean, we're using like a level 4 weapon, so what do you expect me to do? I'm even surprised and impressed it's doing this well against these. In fact, it makes you feel like if you did have a pet and he was at least the same level as you might very easily be able to kill an elite like that. At least if you use your bow and weren't a complete clown like this. But he's just going to have way too much health. We're very close to level 12. Or that's what you could do. You could be like fighting something else super low level. And then level up, use the Paper Mario strategy. Like on Bowser and fucking Thousand Year Door. You're fighting Grotus and you'll level up after it. Because immediately after the fight, you kind of time it that way. Immediately after the fight, Bowser attacks you and Kammy Koopa or whatever. So you get 2 fights back to back. You get fully healed between them, but only if you time it and sort of plan it so that you level up in between, which I think happened for me anyway, organically, the first time I did it. That would be like a good hard mode strat. That's not even one of those things I'd say, oh, that's dishonorable to do, because it's kind of unfair that you have to fight 2, you know, final boss caliber things in a fucking row. That probably will be my next hard mode series too, because although it'll be a while, mine go on for so long that I kind of need a break, or I'm kind of milking the minigames. I kind of don't even want to discover it yet. We'll save that. Yeah, we saw one of the orange raptors, so maybe they're just super rare. Or I guess I was kind of right in saying they're kind of around Duratar. Oh, we should discover South Fury River, though. Crocodile. Almost as hostile an environment as Florida, and I'm right, and I'm not even talking about Ron DeSantis and the big bad Republicans. I like how much of a preconceived thing it is that everybody is like, all of a sudden, everybody's like on one side of the aisle. False duality. Why can't they both be bad? Why can't they both be morons? This guy's coming on land pretty far. That was always the solution. Why don't you just vote for an independent instead of going back and forth between these 2 clown parties? Or, of course, having more parties is always better, but it is a very strange thing. That was a quote that people liked. In the age of information, or no, I set it up like Romans fell to their bread in circuses. They were an empire so great that nobody could possibly take them down except for themselves. Meanwhile, the U.S. in 2020... 81 million people vote for a dementia patient, or what was the other one? Like, no, it was something more specific than that. It was like, in the age of information, 81 million people chose to vote for a dementia patient. Like, at least the Romans didn't have the internet. At least other, you know, societies didn't have all these resources. We have the internet. We have all this stuff, interconnectivity all around the world, thousands of years of history and research to learn from, and this is what we get. So it's like they had more excuses at least than we do, for like why they fucked up and why their society fell. They just didn't know any better. They just couldn't, you know, they didn't have all this info. It could easily be censored and unavailable to them. Now we'll go ahead and do parry. There's no reason to do these. What would I even get next? Just to think about it. Gives your immolation trap, frost trap, and explosive trap 5% chance to entrap them, preventing them from moving for 5 seconds. This is very fun. I feel like nobody ever really, I don't know. I don't remember seeing that effect a lot, at least. Increase the critical strike chance of raptor strike and mongoose by 10%. I mean, you could get both of these. Oh, I don't know. Gives your wing clip a 4% chance to immobilize target for 5 seconds. I think I'd probably do like 3 points in this and 2 points in this. Or maybe not even do this, even though that's kind of a big deal though, 20%. Because that's all I'm going to be using like the whole fucking run. Oh, it's going to be hard to figure this out. Total health by 2%. I mean, I don't mind it, but increases the duration of freezing and frost traps by 15%. And the damage of immolation, explosive trap. I mean, obviously you want to be on guard with the traps here. I guess it doesn't matter because, like I said, I'm only going to put points in survival, so we can get pretty much everything. Okay, we get this one. It's going to be hard to keep track of some of these, though. Basically, we're not going to keep coming back to these areas anyway, so that's a good way to keep track of it, too. Let's finish off these 2 Cold War camps just for the sake of it, even though it doesn't matter too much. And then the only thing we're missing out on is Thunder Ridge, which we're kind of flirting with the border of that, too, now. And that'll be that Fizzle guy. Little goblin in league with the cultist, the, Burning Blade. Where is that orange raptor? I guess I'll have to find it when I'm really ready, which is still a while from now. We have to actually go solo without our pets still, just because of odd circumstances. Now, these ones are smaller, like the ones on Echo Isles. The one we just fought was like way bigger than we are. And of course, we're way bigger than humans are, so that's kind of the scale of the sort of the food, what's it called? The food pyramid. It goes humans at the bottom, then trolls in the middle, and then fucking big raptors at top. Just in terms of the raw size. Of course, Taurens at the very, very top, and then gnomes at the very, very bottom. Can't blame me for forgetting them. You can barely even notice them there. Food chain, I mean. Yeah, that's fine. Very fitting that fishing would be like the first profession we learned. So, see, even stuff like that gives a certain flavor and identity. There was no first aid trainer, or maybe there was. There was no first aid trainer in Senjin Village, but there was a fishing trainer, and vice versa. There might be another trainer in a different zone that. So it's like every race has its own preference for what they do. Like humans, they'll have a cooking trainer very readily available because they like to cook or something. It just feels fitting because if you grew up on the Echo Isles, of course you'd be into fish, and that's your whole livelihood and stuff. So we're very close actually to Orgrimmar, aren't we? Why doesn't it feel like we are? No, we're kind of on the wrong side of this. There's another farm like this right outside of it that looks like this. I guess we're only doing this so it doesn't aggro. I'm not getting anything from it. I can't even loot, and I'm certainly not getting experience. Oh, here we go. We got to remember this guy. We'll come back for him. Not even just another random one, but this exact one. Right? So we're setting up the story. We look him in the eyes. And we'll be back for you. That's got to be the one. Where else could you find an orange raptor? We got to fish in some of these bodies of water, but I guess... Or this would be kind of a cool place to even... No, I'll see you later. I still want to do the fizzle thing. Lost but not forgotten. Rygor, can you please help me? My son, Kron, went missing days ago and he still hasn't returned. Isn't this what the Orgrimmar police or the Orgrimmar guard should be doing? I'm not a vigilante. He went west towards the Barrens, hunt crocodiles along the South Fury River. I fear the worst. As strong so you'll just kill a crocodile and his body will be in there. Strong as he was, his stubborn pride always got him into trouble. Doesn't sound like me at all. I warned him that the crocodiles were powerful and vicious. He grew angry and stormed off. If you can't find him, at least bring me a sign of his fate. Even if you have to open up the stomach of every crocodile to go around South Fury's banks. I like how unsubtle they are with that. Oh, so that's what we have to do. Sometimes it'd be like, you know, Rolf and stuff from Elwyn Forest. You have to find their bones to see their fate at the hands of the Murlocs. Which we can sympathize with as a troll, because that's how Senjin died. Such a pussy way to die for somebody who's considered so badass in the lore. Or even just in general. Like, oh my goodness, the big bad hungry Murlocs are coming after us, who are considered like cute in the lore, and they're almost like a mascot of the Warcraft universe in a fun way. Not like they're so threatening. Kamisha Torkin at the farmstead northwest of Razor Hill.
Farewell.
What is this little subtle sound in the background? It almost sounds like a fireplace, but there is no... Oh, is it from this? That's weird. It sounds like there's a fireplace going on in their home, but there's not. So let's see. What other parts... This makes it feel like this is somewhere different than what it actually is. Oh, there's Orgrimmar. Our first time seeing it ever, let's say. Of course it's not. We've seen it from the other side though, especially. Trying to raid it, trying to kill Thrall, trying to kill, that was one of my favorite things actually to do. Okay, so you at least have a few of these to go after. We haven't gotten a quest to do the harpies yet. That kind of scared me, actually, the sound of the kiss. Yeah, we've decided we kind of bridge our whole experience. Not only our first experience playing a hunter, but kind of our first experience playing the game, period. Right? Because that was very early on when I first started. And for some reason, I started as a horde first because I thought they were cooler and more badass. You get to play as the bad guys, kind of. Orcs are considered evil in most universes, right? They're always enemy types. It's interesting how their lore sort of does that. It takes those stereotypes and turns undead. Those are supposed to be the you know, like the scourge and stuff. That's the one race you can kind of understand why, you know, there'd be some apprehension about it. And even the horde doesn't like them because, you know, they start off as neutral, whereas everybody else starts off as... So these are all the same enemy types. Look at how many different ones of these they give you to do. Which I guess is why you can't complain about the simple fact of, you know, oh, people are kill stealing stuff. This is their response to that. We'll give you 4 different Cold War camps with the same exact enemy types. One of them with a random elite, which I almost just didn't even notice. In fact, this is what you should do. But this is a tactical thing that somehow you'd be able to tell what his name is and everything. I don't know how a hunter would really know that. You're seeing this place for the first time, but you know the elite guy's name and his whole identity and his backstory. I do like that. That's a pretty important one. 20% crit chance. And it's like, that's rewarding you because they're such shitty abilities that you wouldn't be using in the first place, but now we will. So in addition to our base crit chance, which is like, it'll be more than that. Let's say we get it up to 10 just from agility gear and stuff, which might not be too readily available because a lot of it'll be just from drops and quests. But if we do get it up to 10, we'll have a 30% crit chance with a base ability, which is fucking awesome. Where else do you get that? Probably in a lot of abilities, like for rogues and stuff, but it's amazing how much I've forgotten about the game too. But I guess I more so just experience it. I don't commit it to memory because what does it matter? It's just a fucking game. But as much as I love it, people definitely turn these things into something else, right? Like a big ego trip. Like it's, I don't know. It's just weird. And you don't have that problem as much with single player games. Like, who cares if you don't know the optimal strat for this or that? You don't necessarily want to know it. You just want to kind of dick around and figure it out or come up with your own idea. And then when you do that, people will complain too. Like, oh, you better not do it this way. And then you do it some other way. And they're like, oh, that's too easy too. That's overpowered. You shouldn't do that. Anybody could do it with the Black Knight Greatsword. But not only did I not know it existed, but, you know, it just happened to drop, which was kind of lucky too. That's why the blind playthrough thing is so authentic. Like, you can use anything in the game, but you can only use it if you know, you won't find it because you looked it up, because you're not allowed to look it up, and you won't know it's even there. So if you happen upon it in your natural organic experience, that's half the battle. You deserve to be able to use it because you found it. That's the point. Or like, I deserve it because I killed the Black Knight. I put myself at risk for that, so therefore I got a reward. Instead of just like, oh, you're not allowed to use anything, just ever. You just go naked and go unarmed. I love those sort of discreditor moments of hard mode. It's just, no matter what you do, oh, you could have done it without that weapon too. You could have done it without, like, you're on a one stat only character, like Dex only, and you beat a boss for the first time, and you're not using items, and you're not using, you know, humanities to heal, only Estus, and all these kind of other things. But then, oh, well, your weapon was still too strong, even though you're sacrificing everything for one spec anyway. I don't know why these feel so strong when they're under leveled from me anyway. You have some new spells that we won't be able to use, probably. And I wasted a bit of money. So even after all this time, we still won't be able to have enough money for that goddamn fishing pole. That's really the closure that I want in Duratart. If it's even still there in the shop. Give us a good excuse to go back and say farewell. But we still got a lot of time because we have to go to Orgrimmar and stuff. 9 armor, although these look kind of cool. At least the icon for it is cool. That's really what you should worry about. It's fucking cosmetic stuff. Now, is there a chest here or something? That's what I'd really like to track, like treasure tracking, but who gets that? Gnomes or dwarves? I forget. I can't actually tell, and these two might have aggroed just together. Okay, this almost gives off the vibe that you are sort of farming for experience. Oh shit, I'm out. I'm out. You know, can I get out of here without dying? And you probably should be able to, and especially with the potion. But at least I'm not a clown like that mage was, where I'm going in at like, you know, quarter health. Yeah, she still somehow escaped. Yeah, see, it's pretty easy to get away like that. Now, how would I even get through these, assuming I wanted to? So all I want to do, I guess, is the Fizzle Darkstorm quest, or maybe I won't even do that. These are going to be kind of short episodes, but more enjoyable than a card game at least. But that was kind of a good concession moment that I played a lot of card games for a while in all these slots because I had neglected them for so long. But these slots are very flexible. It could be anything. This is still meant to be a secondary series, but it doesn't really feel like it because it's going to be very, very time consuming, very engaging. You know, a card game just feels like, oh, you're kind of just dicking around. I mean, it will be easy, but I've been made to eat my words like that before. 22 versus 22. You could totally switch those out just to avoid having to repair. So these guys haven't dropped bags at all. These two are kind of tied together very closely, so I'm a little bit worried about it. I just want to see if there's like some kind of chest or something. It could be inside of there. They don't even give you a good vantage point on it. Aggroing two of these at once is utterly ridiculous, though. And so you can't even use range to pull stuff because I could use a bomb, I guess, to pull it if I had that engineering. I mean, it's not a good idea to try to do this. I can barely take one of these at a time. Maybe I can pull it out of one's aggro. Fuck. I can pull one out of aggro range, but not the other. Or I can get this guy to reset before this guy does. It almost seems like they're tied together, though. Like, now I'm playing with fire, but we should test some of this stuff out. They're always too close to each other. He turned his back. Oh, he's just, yeah, they're totally tethered together. Birds of a feather. You know, get out of one's aggro range, which should be slightly... Let's actually test. This could be a good technique for later. Doing something I totally don't need to do. Wait, why are they going so far now? They didn't come this far before. What's happening? You're gonna totally daze me or something? I can use a potion. I'm gonna have to. So now they decided to just break ranks and follow me across the whole zone. What a cool thing. You have to be like a certain fixed distance away despite... But no, there's always a certain general range that they can't go out of. Well, that was unnecessarily risky behavior. Just in the vein of and the spirit of exploring. That's more so the dwarves' racial trait is like they like to explore and dig up fossils and shit to try to figure out their history. Which is kind of disappointing. Just like, oh, you were the machinations of the Titans and you got the curse of flesh from Yogg-Saron. We're gonna get caught between a pretty bad spot here. You could always do this shit when you're a higher level too, but that's kind of no fun either. Like if you just want to explore and dick around. Yeah, some of this constitutes kind of getting too high level, but it's just not going to be that way in the long run. And I mean, I almost just butted heads with an elite, so you can't really say this is too safe. It's going to be one ability Andy over here, almost like I'm raiding as a mage all over again. The spam frostbolt, which it was more so that I didn't even mind spamming it. I just hated using it. Like I wanted to use fireball or something, but you couldn't because every raid was just the same thing. I just want to see if there's a chest there or not. I guess even if there is, I can accept the fact that this isn't the right thing to do. So let's just go back. Have like a little watchtower here. Or is that just Razor Hill? Oh, is it really that close? So of course, extrapolated on from Warcraft 3, these will shoot like little things at you. Magically. If you go near it, if you're an Alliance player, which of course, imagine if they actually did that. Instead of guards just attacking you, these things will just shoot those fucking major arsenal at you and just like one-shot you if you come anywhere near them. There were certain mechanics like that somewhere along the line. Because I always love to attack like opposing towns, even if just by myself. Or like I went to what's the place called in Thousand Needles? Freewind Post, and I would keep killing the fight master and jumping off because I was a mage, so I had my little slow fall. I was something of a troll myself, even though I wasn't even playing on the horde. So these, obviously, they recycle a lot of these textures and structures, which is fine. What are you looking for? I'm looking for the bank, even though I'm not even there yet. Yeah, I need to drop off some things. Oh, at least they acknowledge that in the flavor text. 10 out of 10. Find it by heading north up the road to Orgrimmar and then ask one of them. What the fuck? So in other words, you won't tell me where it is, but you'll still acknowledge it. I don't know where it is. Why don't you go to Orgrimmar and ask them there? That's hilarious. And I like the fact that, can't you see I'm busy here? Go north to the road of Orgrimmar and ask one of the grunts there. You can't miss it. I could use a drink and a rest myself. You'll find it in the northwest corner of Razor Hill. Oh, at least this one's relevant. Say hi to Innkeeper Grosk for me. That's so weird that they give him even this dialogue. Stable Master is pretty relevant for me. Toja is in front of the inn. Now move along, I'm busy. I wonder if he's saying this because I'm asking him each one. I don't think so. Toja Mai is over in the inn. Class trainer. Which trainer do you seek? Hunter, mage, priest, rogue, shaman, warlock, warrior. So what is missing from here? Druid, obviously, because you would have to only go to the Tauren area for that. Hunter's trainer is Thotar. Seek him out in the burrow in the southwest corner of Razor Hill. He must be wondering, why am I even looking for the mage trainer? Speak with Untuwa in the south of Senjin Village. So there isn't one, obviously, in Razor Hill. I thought there was one in Razor Hill. In that big hunt. Maybe not. Priest. Cal Jin is her name. Oh, wow. He has a crush on her. Look how long and verbose this one is. The rest are just like, here, he's this guy and he's there. That's it. You don't need to go into so much detail. Is her name, and you'll find her inside the barracks on the east side of Razor Hill. I watch her from my post when she comes home from work every day. She'll teach you to respect the gods. Make certain that you show her the proper respect in return. That is so much flavor for this random grunt. Shaman, or wait. Why would you want to talk to Caplac? Never mind. Now, would he say this even if I was a rogue? He's not questioning my other things. Why the fuck would I want to see a mage? Just because I have a magic bar and I'm identity confused? Look for him on top of the burrow in the southwest corner of Razor Hill. Just make sure that you keep your hands in your own pockets. Why? That's exactly... Oh, maybe he means like I don't get stolen from him. What, like he's going to be offended by me trying to steal stuff, even though that's the whole point of being a rogue in the first place? You need to find Swart. What a name. Look for him inside the barracks on the east side of Razor Hill. And then Warlock. On the east side of Razor Hill, behind the barracks, is where you find Durgu Gorlust. And of course, they always hide away the Warlock trainers, but not as much on the Horde side. Like where it's in the... That is such a good immersive RP element. Although it's kind of ruined by the fact that you're running around Stormwind with a Voidwalker or an Imp behind you, which they can't really explain that. Or at least the Imp has phase shift. Or like the Succubus will have stealth somehow. But... Yeah, you're summoning a Voidwalker. Meanwhile, Voidlords are supposed to be the creators of the old gods. Like, they're so strong. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, really. It's a 1-3 with taunt, dude. Or even the Voidlords summon 3 of them. Wow. What a crazy, overpowered class the Warlock must be, then. You can summon literally something as powerful as the old gods, or at least something associated with them. Even in vanilla WoW. Find Tarsha Jagged Scar inside the barracks on the east side of Razor Hill. Bring pride and honor to the Horde Youngling, even though I can't do anything with him. But yeah, I like that. I like how they bury the Warlock trainers in the basement everywhere. To show it's sort of like a taboo thing. See, little touches like that mean a lot. Oh, wow. We're going to exhaust the flavor text. Seek out Miozan in Senjin Village to the south. You can learn alchemy there. Blacksmithing. If you think you have the strength to pound good metal into weapons and armor for the Horde, seek Dwuk next to the heated forge in southwest corner of Razor Hill. So this is different than anything you would see anywhere else. This is a unique flavor text to these grunts, at least, because you wouldn't be able to do this if you go to Orgrimmar or something. Obviously, because they're saying it so referentially to where they are right now. Head up north to the road to Orgrimmar so you can ask one of the grunts there for directions to the cooking trainer. I love that. Like, what's the point then? Just to let you know it's in Orgrimmar. There's one in Orgrimmar. A grunt up there will let you know the directions. Just head up north there. You can't miss it. He's really trying to push me there, but it's not going to happen, dude. I don't know one of those around here. Your best bet is to seek to Orgrimmar and speak to one of their grunts. So this one, he doesn't even know if Orgrimmar has one. Of course it does. They're not like druids where they're just completely outcast. There's that was so inconvenient. Like, you have to go to Darnassus, which nobody likes Darnassus anyway. And you have to go to Thunder Bluff, which I kind of like Thunder Bluff, but I especially love the music as I'm slaughtering their fucking whole population there and all the guards. There's an engineer, and that one's obviously perfect. Bring 40 mages to Thunder Bluff, and even if things go wrong, you can just jump off the side, and they won't be able to catch you, right? You can just get to the bottom, slow fall right before you hit the ground, and just fucking ride away. You always have an easy out of that. I love that. There's an engine. No other class can really do that, right? Like a levitate or something, but how would they chase you, right? There's 40 warriors and 40 rogues, but you can just get the fuck out. To just kill, do 40 palm pyros on the fucking boss, which wouldn't be enough to even come close to killing it, but that was always the annoying thing. You had to deal with the players. If you just let me try to kill the horde leader itself, that's fine. There's an engineering trainer, Razor Hill. He's called Muckdrak. Usually be found standing over near the forge. But he's in like the lowest station. Like, symbolism wise, he should be in the highest spot. With all of the fighting we do, of course, we have a first aid trainer, Razor Hill. Find Rorik inside the Barrens on the east side of town. I actually kind of forgot if he was there. Because, yeah, why wouldn't I just learn that? I have to learn cooking, but apparently there is no cooking trainer here, so that's a good way to learn it. At least this feels more organic. You have to go to Sen'jin Village, which I already got. I've seen a troll named Lao, or it's not even in Sen'jin Village. Lao Tiki fishing down south at the Darkspear Strand. That's just in the outskirts of Sen'jin Village. Yeah, we are a troll. Why wouldn't we know that? This guy knows a lot of shit, but that kind of shows you his vision is clouded, right? He doesn't get the sexy city life, so he's kind of bitter. I know Durotar like the back of my hand, but as soon as you get into Orgrimmar, just fuck them. Let them tell you. Herbalism. You're looking for Mish Iki. She has a hut down south at Sen'jin Village. The alchemy and herbalism were there, which we kind of bumped into. To learn to cure and work with the hides, go to Orgrimmar to the north. One of the Orgrimmar guns will be able to tell you the way to the leatherworking trainer. And mining. Sure. We have they kind of acknowledge how overwhelming it can be, is why they put the guards there. Like, that's the game sort of saying, look, this is a more casualized version of EverQuest or something, because I spent so much time walking around in EverQuest, and they don't have a mechanic like that, obviously. And even the towns aren't as big as some of the capital cities here, so it's like, that's them sort of trying to hold your hands. Like, oh yeah, we'll tell you where everything is, because you're just a dumb little baby. Sure, we have a mining trainer right here in town. Look for Krun over the northwest corner. And skinning. There's a skinning trainer in Orgrimmar. To get there, head north up out of the road to Razor Hill. Ask where Orgrimmar got. That's weird. Somehow I thought we saw a skinning trainer, or maybe we just saw a skinning knife. Tailoring. You can learn how to sew up in Orgrimmar. That's to the north. Maybe one of the Orgrimmar grunts can help you. So that guy had 10 out of 10 best flavor text possible. Does that mean that even the female one will say the same thing?
Strength and honor.
Or they probably have the same recycled thing. I don't think there's anything that really would be, specific to that. Like, why should it be different? I'm gonna fall off one of these things one of these times. The Wind Rider Masters. Can't you see I'm busy here? Or like the inn, I could use a drink myself. Or no, it is slightly different. It's the building in Razor Hill that's not the barracks. The only other building. Are you fucking stupid? Is basically what she's saying. Just talk to the innkeeper Groski inside. You got that. It is actually different. That's pretty amazing. Huh? You'll find the bank in Orgrimmar. Head north. She's a little sassy herself. I won't do each profession. I could use a drink and rest myself. Say hi to innkeeper Grosk. Yeah, what is even up here? I mean, it's obviously just flavor stuff. Yeah, which is taller? One of these watchtowers or the tree that you go up when you're at Night Elf? Oh, there is actually a quest here. I could have missed this altogether. There's a lot more shit here than maybe you'd normally give it credit for.
Blood and thunder.
Carry your weight. Age has rendered... No, I'll just have my pet do it for me. Age has rendered me useless in battle. Now I make myself useful in other ways. Really? But in all your age, you only got to level 6. It's not like you lose levels. From this vantage point, I watch for invaders. As our strength, well, you're looking at Razor Hill. Shouldn't you be looking the other way like the girl? What exactly would you see? I guess Terragard Keep. I watch for invaders. As our strength grows, I find myself blowing the signal horn less and less. To pass the time, I fashion goods to keep younger, more able warriors defend our homeland, like me. For you, I can fashion a bag for you. Oh, fuck yes. 4 slots, though. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Whenever do you see this? I thought it might be 8. Like, it'll be slightly better than these. In fact, that's the icon, I think, for certainly a bigger one. Like, it's bigger than this, perceptibly on the picture. Bag for your belongings. Such an item would be very useful to me. Bring me some canvas and material common to the humans and centaurs. Pearl Scorn... I can't read. Pearl Scorn Brow in the Razor Hill wants 8 canvas scraps. You have to kill humans or centaurs to get it. It's kind of a unique quest objective. Man, that one you could easily miss. Good thing I'm such an explorer. I thought I was just going up a watchtower for some random reason. Every little thing has some relevance to it. So we get to like dump down on Razor Hill from a different angle. What can we do? We can do this. We can do the Fizzle Darkstorm. A lot of the stuff is going to be Orgrimmar related. Bronze Amulet. Bring a sign. Oh yeah, we have to kill the crocodiles. God damn, dude. You could spend a while in Razor Hill. We have Fizzle, we have crocodiles, and we have the humans and the centaur. There really aren't any other centaur, or maybe there will be coming up. And otherwise, I don't see the point. Let's see what level 12 spells we could potentially do. Mend Pet is going to be important, but we don't even have a pet yet. You need to mend my broken heart first from losing the pet in the first place. Arcane Shot, Distracting Shots, obviously pointless to learn those. Wing Clip is okay, but the funny thing is we're going to be in melee range tanking them most of the time anyway, so we don't have much of an incentive to get away. It's not like it matters that much.
Strength.
We're going to get to level 20 and be able to dual wield before we even goddamn leave Razor Hill, let alone Duratar. Jesus Christ. So the cooking trainer we can't get to apparently, but we could learn first aid, so I don't know how I missed that, or I just didn't have money for it, I guess. Who could it be? Oh, he's right there. I thought I went through here too, looking for it. And how could they not have a cooking trainer? I can treat you and train you in first aid techniques. Here, let me show you how to bind those wounds. Even though I'm at full health. He's like one of those paranoid doctors. I forget the term for it, right? Where they always think something is wrong. Overly protective, overly cautious. Throwing specialization, which I can't use either. I almost should make an exception for that just so I could pull stuff, but I guess fishing is our first love though, because you know what, it's kind of like an activatable thing, so we'll leave it. The only thing we're missing is cooking and the whole flint and tinder thing, which we can totally bring around with us just for RP purposes. That guy actually answered my biggest query of all, where I wanted like I don't even have anything to sell. I wanted a bag so badly this whole time, and we only got 1 of them, so now we'll have 3, and that'll only be 4 slots though. The dinkiest, shittiest thing ever. Almost to the point where I'd like to... Isn't this just the same thing? Where I'd like to destroy my Heartstone, and I could always get it back. What's cool about this though is the first time you get it, it takes you to the Valley of Trials, so there's no way to get it to go back there ever, so I almost superstitiously wouldn't change it. Just because like now I can go somewhere that I otherwise would never be able to go with it. You can only put it to Orgrimmar or an inn or something. There is no NPC there who actually does that for you. So what could I get rid of? All this stuff seems like it could be situationally useful somehow or some way. I might even... Oh, you know, we could do linen cloth, but it's not going to work like that, is it? Or like even this I shouldn't be allowed to do outside of town. I don't even want to get rid of that just because... I guess I could get rid of the mining pick and just get it again. Like, I don't want to do that, but I'm so strapped for room. I would love to convert some of these into bandages, but the problem is I won't be able to because of the simple fact that... Or we should even do it by the trainer. Like, we're learning from him hands-on instead of just magically in a blink of an eye. But no, we would just have to be in town to do it would be my general rule. There's still a lot of quests to do here. Right, so you have 1, 2... Oh, we have to turn that in. Lost but not forgotten. Dark Storms. Yeah, let's show off our first aid skills to this dude. But it won't have room to make a stack, so it's just not gonna matter. Like, what the fuck, dude? I guess I'll sell a thing of linen, even as bad as that seems. Like, we'll have more chances to get it, I guess. The problem is, even this won't solve the immediate issue, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna replace that with 1 bandage each. So I guess I'll sell the bandages. I don't need them yet. This is all acceptable to do, I guess. Yeah, you're gonna get so much linen anyway, but I don't want to waste too much of it. The mining stuff is far more important, especially if I'm doing this node by node thing. And if like an honor system where you can't farm the same ones over and over, even if you are going back to the same areas over and over, it almost encourages me to go back and fight the centaur that we've already fought. But it doesn't really... It would make it seem like there's some centaur coming up, but I don't really think there are. There's some harpies, there's some of those thunder lizards, that's about it.
Blades never dull.
You can make 60 bandages, which there will be room for. Then I'll sell all of them because I don't even want to use these. And then I'll get the other one that does 2 for 1, so at least then we can conserve space. But then I still can't do it when I'm on my journey because, you know, you'll have to get the sacks and then bring them back to town to do it. I'm just, you know, doing that for the sake of it in RP. Or actually, I might not make this many if I can train the next thing. How much is it going to cost anyway? Not equipable. Yeah, you might think I should keep these to use, but I guess I'll just skip right over it because we have so much of this without going out of my way at all. To see it already paid off that we were so stingy and so much of a hoarder. But this you would have to know is going to be useful. You might think, oh, you could use this in combat whenever your pet takes aggro, which is totally legitimate, but you can't always rely on that happening because for the most part, I'm going to be trying to tank. I almost got myself in trouble by trying to fight those 2 level 10s. And I like how their aggro range just randomly expanded too when I'm sort of running away. So once it gets in the yellow, it's fine. Or at least you don't want it to get in the green. It's kind of a waste. But sometimes it forces you, right? You have to do the green for a little bit to get it to a certain level before you get the next one. I actually like how much I've forgotten because it still keeps it kind of fresh. Because my memory has just gotten bad in general, too. That must be why I'm so bad at chess these days. That's fine. I like the sound of these little braziers and the crackling fire. I don't remember it being this noticeable before. Maybe the Horde ones just are better quality. Alliance has all more fancy technology. Whereas the Horde seems more like, you know, they kind of are scrappy and thrifty and just sort of make do with nature a little bit more. So that's what the Horde and the Night Elves kind of have in common. They're more kindred spirits. Like the Tauren and the Night Elves aren't really like the other races too much. They kind of just do their own thing. So they're sort of the outcast races, whereas the undead and the gnomes are kind of the disliked races, although maybe not so much with gnomes. I guess maybe the Night Elves count as the undead, like they might be neutral to everybody else because they're kind of just mysterious. Not even that they're disliked, they just aren't really too... They didn't keep in contact with the other races for a long time, and then they come in and say, oh, we're going to save you from Archimonde, so everybody should actually love them. They should start off as exalted, but I guess just not every run-of-the-mill one, just Malfurion himself. We might not actually be able to do this. Like, when does he teach me the next thing? At least we didn't get it in the green, probably 50. And it'll be like the anti-venom thing, so it's a good thing I kept these other 10 things, which I assume you might need for that, or I actually don't even know. Or we may as well just do it. I think that's actually what it's going to come down to. Right, you might have to do this in the green for a while and over-commit. So I can sell some of it at least. Maybe I'll keep one of them. Heavy linen man. Oh, I kind of wasted in that. That was my whole goal in doing that. It was 114 over 6. It's not even that I really need it, but for now, that's good enough. We'll keep one of these. Let's just put it like maybe there along with the health thing. You might think, oh, what about when you get all these abilities? But not only is classic such that you don't always get that many abilities, but also, especially in this run, you're just not going to have that much. I'm pretty happy with the parry chance, though. It is almost going to be 10% by the time you're done with that. The problem is it won't ever go up more than that or be altered, right? because it's not like getting agility is going to add to that. I mean, we have the 8% dodge. Like, we're actually going to get fucking cap, mitigation cap. We have a little bit of space by which we could get ability to get another bag, which is going to be a Dinky Forest Slaughter. Or the very fact of killing the Turgard Keep people would allow me to... It would allow me to basically get potentially a bag from them too. For some reason, I feel like there might be Centaur coming up somewhere, but I just don't think so. That would also allow me to, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So we have 3 total quests, right? Not this. Fizzle is in there somewhere. Not even telling me to kill any of his little minions, just him. The horde is very to the point with those. Like, oh, kill 10 Defias, then come back, then kill 10 more Defias Highwaymen, then go and kill the boss of the Defias, all in the same area. To get the scraps, carry your weight, he's telling me, even though he's the one who's not carrying his weight because he's old and useless. Lost but not forgotten is the alligators, and then we have the fizzle. So if we were to go back, that would be fair enough, but it kind of is a good excuse to go forward. Or like even if we find Burning Blade, there could be some humans in the Burning Blade. I guess maybe we'll save that. This does feel kind of a little bit bad because, oh, I'm not allowed to do rested. That shouldn't count. Or imagine we'll get so much rested just by dicking around in Orgrimmar for that long. So we should end off in a different spot than ever before. It could be in that chick's house who gave us the quest to find the alligator. That could be a good spot. I was actually thinking about that at the time. So then we'll find the fate of the alligator guy who got eaten probably, because she mentions it so morbidly and specifically, like, oh, even if you have to kill every single one and open up their stomachs to find it. Like, dude, I was just going to look for his bones, like Rolf and stuff in Elwyn Forest, but that's good enough for me. And then, you know, do the Burning Blade Part 2. It's the first time we've seen them since the Valley of Trials. So we went from the Valley of Trials to Sen'jin Village, or the guy on the road. Then we went all the way to here just to follow up on what they told us to do that long ago. Like, there was no bridge quest in the middle. Usually it'll be like, oh yeah, the Burning Blade have made a camp near Sen'jin Village. Please take them out. And then now you go up to this one. And then you'll go from here to the one outside Orgrimmar too. So we still want to get that fishing pole too. Now it doesn't show this chick's house, but it was somewhere around here. And so we got a couple quests off the beaten path. So it kind of justifies my exploratory nature. Especially if you don't know this stuff offhand, or of course if you don't look it up. 100% quest completionist run. Like somebody at the top of the watchtower and also somebody in the house here. I can't really remember where she was. We're going to have to kill the harpies. We're going to have to kill the burning blade. We're going to have to get the fishing pole. We're going to have to kill the crocodiles. We're going to have to kill the centaur or the humans, which I think... So the kobolds let me down in terms of the bags, unless I missed one that they might have dropped. We go check out this chick's farm, and this will be the same one, I'm pretty sure. And she's pretty... Or maybe it's not. Or in fact, I don't even think I've been there at all. Maybe it's this dinky rundown house. No wonder that guy was dying to get out of there, literally. So the orange raptors we found too. There's just so much to do. Like, it's so... I don't know. It could be there, but I feel like I didn't go there. Right? That's kind of gonna cause me to explore a new area. Is it really this one? This doesn't look livable. Raise remaining grounds. As long as you're in a safe spot and you're not rested, that's kind of what I want it to be. This must be it because you're so close to the water. No? Damn, now I don't know where the hell it is. I feel like maybe it was that house still. We got to like the border of the valley, Thunder Valley, or Thunder Ridge. We should know this by now. Or it was like maybe closer to the water. How many houses could there really be? That's got to be it. I don't remember going like past this point though. Now it's gonna discover a whole new area. Yeah, how many episodes has it been? This is episode 4 and we're still in Durotar. But it's actually okay. We're still doing relatively level appropriate stuff. Now we see the harpies here. Okay, I guess I take it back. This is actually a nice place, so he should have had no reason to want to run away. And you have like an empty farm. Maybe you make him do all the work. Like, it'd be more convincing as a farm if there was actually shit there. Like, some plants or something. Is that her crying over the loss of her son? He doesn't want to just be a farmer all his life. He wants to go out on an adventure. Like, what was his whole story, too? I forget the motivation. He wants to fight some alligators, and I told him they're too tough, so that was it. Like, why did he just randomly want to do that specifically? Rygor, please, can you help me? My son went hunting days ago. Oh, he wanted to hunt them and hasn't returned. He went towards the Barrens River's crocodiles. As strong as he was, his stubborn pride always got him drawn into trouble. I warned him, or it's going to be like a twist. We'll find in a crocodile's stomach, not him, but it'll be like a note that says, haha, I bet you thought you'd find me here, didn't you? Now go find me at this other secondary location. And it'll start a chain quest that ends with the, I faked my death to evade the SI-7 agents who were after me. Little did my mother not know that I'm actually one of them. Oh, this is actually kind of a nice RP place to sleep, too. You should require something like this, except for the fact that you break my immersion by going through it. So in exchange for us agreeing to find her son for her, or her son's remains, she allows us to sleep in the little cot next to her in her lovely place. Which I take back my rude insult about the other one, but then again, not really, because that one was shitty, but nobody lives there. A real hole in the wall, that place, you could say. Or maybe I should show that as an authenticity check. Like, you see me logging out, now I won't log in again. Although I guess I could, like, maybe I have to do some thumbnail or something, but I shouldn't really do that.